Hello everybody and welcome back to GKR 2025. I am your host, Pedicast, joined by the amazing Duncan Brawl Stars. How are you doing today on this fine day number 3, Duncan?
I'm doing fantastic, Panda. Cannot wait. It's been 1 week too long since our last GKR match day, so I'm fired up to get into day 3. We're going to have Bounty ahead of us too, so definitely going to be a little bit of a mix-up in the playstyle from what we saw in the last couple of days. A little bit more aggressive game modes. Now we're going to see who's got the better strategy, who can play a passive game better. So I'm fired up. We've got a great slate of matchups lined up in front of us as well, starting with Pioneers SSG. Absolute banger. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have, 6 matches today, so it is a round robin stage, but it's a group stage, and it's a little confusing a little bit, but we have, at the end of the day, we have 6 match days. This is going to be match day number 3. We have 3 more after that, and 6 matches on each day. But today, unfortunately, I have to inform you that the last match is not going to happen. LC Esports took the dub against 919 because of a forfeit win, so congratulations to them. You take the dubs whenever you get them, you know. But first up on the docket, it is going to be Pioneers versus Space Station Gaming. So Kansas City Pioneers are sitting pretty perched at the top of the leaderboards, having won both of their matches. The only other team to do so, no surprise, Tribe Gaming. But here, Pioneers are up against Space Station Gaming that had a tumultuous start to the tournament and even the year. While Space Station Gaming is a great ensemble, they haven't performed at the level that everybody expects them to, and facing the Pioneers right now might be a challenge for them. But hopefully they're up to the task with Split 2.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely going to be a good test of SSG's skill, SSG's determination, and it's definitely going to be very impactful for the leaderboard. As you said, Pioneers, the only undefeated team outside of Tribe, but SSG is sitting right below them at 1-1. But a win here would bring both teams to 2-1. That would be fantastic for SSG's placement going forward. Going down to 1-2, though, if they do manage to lose to KCP, that's going to be a tough thing to overcome with only 3 additional days of games after this. So SSG's got a lot to play for here. They've got to step up to the plate, but Pioneer's going to be looking to go 3-0, be the first team to reach that mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's not 3-0, it's 2-0 because it is best of 3. But yeah, I know what you mean exactly, because they're at the top of the leaderboard, right? A win here is just going to put them even further, because obviously the objective right now in the group phase is to get to the later stage of the competition, which is the knockout phase, which is going to be later on in this tournament. So already Pioneers in a great spot in terms of that. Space Station not so good. They had a loss already in the tournament, which is unfortunate and unexpected. And I believe, I mean, you know, you want to be in a better position, right, going into the later matches here. But it is going to be Bounty here. So the maps in our map pool for Bounty today are going to be Shooting Star, Hideout, Layer Cake. Now, since this is Bounty, the same game mode, the maps, unfortunately, are going to be the same 3 maps we see for every single fixture. But the advantage to that is that you can see how different teams approach the same map with different ideas for the draft and whatnot. So this is, I guess, a little bit of a study in variance, and we want to see the delta between the teams.
Yeah, it's definitely, Bounty is a game mode where drafting is super duper important. I mean, I feel like the brawler pool for this game mode is a little bit smaller than a game mode like Brawl Ball, a game mode like Gem Grab. There are some things that you just aren't really going to see too often, so there's going to be a lot of snipers, going to be a lot of brawlers with that additional range that are probably going to find their way into these drafts. So it's going to be interesting to see which teams are taking which snipers off the board early and kind of how other teams choose to counter that. There are some more aggressive strategies that you can definitely pull off in Bounty if you execute the draft well. So it's going to be a true testament to how well these teams can draft, considering that there is going to be pretty similar strategies going down on both sides of the table here.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at some of the other matches that we have Stamina Esports versus Crumbs. Then we have Tribe Gaming versus Elevate. That is a spicy one. Top 2 teams of the region, and a little bit of beef here and there. Zolos FA, which is a team which is replacing the previous FA roster, which was the previous Elevate roster. And yeah, Razio and Square Counter are going to be showing up in the tournament for the first time. Unfortunately for them, they're going to be inheriting the prowess of FA, which was 2 losses. So they're going to go 0-2 in this tournament. That is unfortunate. And then we have Motomami's FA versus Mori Gaming. And that's going to be the last match that is going to be played today, because obviously LC Esports got the 2-0 free win against 919.
Yeah, it's very exciting, like my matchups in my personal opinion. I mean, getting Pioneers versus SSG and Tribe versus Elevate in the same match day just feels too good to be true, Panda. I feel like these are some of the best games that we're gonna get in this entire tournament. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing which of these Titans are gonna be able to come out on top. And then we've got some more evenly matched up rosters with some of the teams that are playing later as well. So I think that we've got pretty good parity across the board in our matchup slate today. Looking forward to see a couple of games go to set 3, hopefully. I know that we've seen a lot of sweeps take place so far, so hopefully we'll get some competitive, high energy games here. And then with Bounty also, I'm sure that there's going to be a couple of finishes that are just going to be unforgettable.
Yeah, shout out to Falco for that dono, €6. Appreciate it. He says, put my boy Bobby on Piper. Go SSG. Amazing stuff, Falco. Thank you so much for the dono. I'm gonna go back here. But yeah, you did mention we have some great caliber games today, right? Tribe Gaming Elevate. It's something that you expect in the grand finals of a tournament. It's something that you expect at the international land or something like that. So it is going to be a great one, especially with all of the different ideas in mind. Tribe Gaming classically in this region known to be one of the better drafters, with Elevate also showing us a lot of ingenuity. It isn't the exact same Elevate squad that we used to have. We have Patchy, Vegeta, and Aliana as Diego Gamer, obviously in another squad here, Motomami's FA, and yeah, that's just how it is right now for Elevate. But that being said, it's still going to be a pretty great matchup here against both these teams, because Alianis is a player of repute, which I feel like a lot of people forget.
Yeah, no, Alianis is definitely a fantastic player. And this entire region is littered with great players. As far as teams that are going to be able to make an impact on the world stage, that is kind of still out for the jury to decide. Obviously not the greatest showing in Brawl Cup for this entire region, but both Tribe and Elevate know that they're going to be trying to bounce back and kind of prove that they do belong to be in the S tier of like a worldwide Brawl Stars team. So I'm looking forward to see how they're going to be able to bounce back from a little bit, honestly, of an embarrassing performance on the world stage, but lots to play for here. I'm sure that the second split of the season is going to not let us down at all. I still believe in NA personally, Panda. Maybe a little bit of hometown bias, but hopefully you guys at home believe in the North American region as much as I do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been an NA hopeful since 2019. I remember the days when you had Bobby, OG, and Squashy on Sneaky Plantas, and the only team that could take them down was, I believe, second best Jack Chepo and Crying Man. So those were the OG days of Brawl Stars, and it was like very, very high octane. And I remember everybody from all the regions just watching NA at that point in time with bated breath, because NA was the region to beat at that point in time. Unfortunately, that World Finals, we saw what happened with Nova Esports, I believe, Spen's roster, Spence Cerulean and Tom taking the dub against Animal Champaru, which had, I believe, Hagego, Ponkotsu, and I forget the last guy. But that's my memory. It's failing. I'm old.
You're making me feel old having to remember all these old games, man. Holy unk moment right here. But guys, we've got our first draft pulled up right here. KCP versus SSG. Like we said, it is going to be Shooting Star for map number 1. Our bans are in. It's going to be Piper, 8-Bit, Bell, Lumi, Jean, and Angelo. So as we expect, a lot of range brawlers banned out there. And the first pick is going to be coming out from KCP. It's going to be a Byron, my apologies. So they're going with a little bit of range, a little bit of healing, a very versatile first pick right there. Doesn't really perform the best in a sniper 1v1, but as a support brawler, he's definitely going to be a fantastic ranged option.
Yeah, I completely agree. There is one brawler, though, that is probably one of the best supports to ever exist in the game. That's Jay Young, and I don't see it being picked up just yet. This is a long-range map, and both these teams embracing that long-range meta here with the Byron along with the Mandy. So I like what I see so far, but the question is, what do we see later? I don't see a Gray being picked up. I feel like Gray is a great shout here as well. Jay Young also to boot. With Gray, you can also possibly get onto a bit more aggressive compositions. Always going to be coming out for SSG. So far, with Jean being banned, I feel like Gray is such a good option for a pull here, but it really depends on how low the HP of some of the brawlers are here.
I really do like the gray pick in most bounty and knockout maps. I think shooting star is going to be one that's a little bit tougher to pull him off just because there aren't as many walls to hide behind with that walking cane gadget, but definitely still a brawler I expect to be at the top of team's draft list here. The Ollie makes a lot of sense as well. As far as aggressive brawlers that you can play in bounty, Ollie is certainly going to be near the top of that list. He's got a lot of maneuverability with that super, and then his gadget can just lead to some extremely easy kills. So I really do like that from SSG. Pioneers are going to pick up the Gus to pair with the Byron, so they're going to have a lot of sustain. They have heals, they have shields, and they're going to pair that with a Kenji as well. So we've got two support range brawlers paired up with the most broken assassin in the game. I really like what Pioneers are cooking here.
Yeah, that Kenji is going to look really fierce. You have the HP, which is going to be healing it up from Byron. You have the shields from the Gus as well, and it's going to be scary, really. I think that Ollie has to play almost perfectly to counter out that Kenji. Obviously, you can use the pull coming in from your gadget, but your teammates need to be decent enough to get those kills going. But right now, SSG have this last pick here, and they need something to really answer to that Kenji, and they bring out the Pearl. Pearl really great because Kenji has to go up in your face to get damage. Well, that heat is going to be giving a nightmare to Kenji. He might get those burns, especially once she breaks her oven. So that's something that Pioneers need to be concerned about.
I think the pro pick is definitely a solid answer to the Kenji. When I saw the Kenji come out, I kind of expected Pearl or RT to be the final pick from SSG. Those are typically the bounty options that give you the most as far as tank counter ability goes. So I think that the Pearl is a very solid option right there. You can definitely catch the Byron or the Gus lacking too with the burning cookie gadget. So I think it definitely offers a lot of versatility there that can play at range. It can play in with the Kenji in its face. But we're going into game number 1 here. As expected, Kenji is going to be able to pick up that blue star for free, but Fade is just going to be kind of buying his time, trying to work towards that super and eventually that hypercharge.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard for Fade to get that because the map is quite open, but they have the blue star, and right now it's for SSD to really move in here. As long as KCP don't stand out and get caught out in bad situations, they should be pretty fine. But I'm not sure how Fade's going to be able to get his super in this interactions.
He's definitely going to have to pick and choose his times to go in. It's going to be pretty difficult to feed off of the Pearl or off of the Mandy, just considering how far away the Mandy is going to be able to stand. But we see both teams playing extremely passive right now. Zulon is going to be a little weak from that Pearl gadget, so he's going to be taking his time to heal back up in the back right of the map right here. We see SSG moving up a little bit higher. Chino's just kind of working to get that first Mandy super, but that's definitely going to be something to watch. If they aren't able to connect any Mandy supers, then SSG might have a little bit of a difficult time getting any kills here. Some
gadgets going down on the left-hand side. So far, nothing really off notice happening. Bobby going to go in here, but he does lick too many shots here. That's unfortunate for him. 35 seconds left, and so far, not much happening, but it has to happen now.
Bobby's going in on the back left right here. He is going to be able to get the hypnosis off on Tyrant, and he survives on 300 HP, and somehow Chino's going to be able to save him with that super right there, but he's going to go down right after, and that's going to be a very large lead to the side of KCP right here. Some good aggression from SSG, but they had no escape plan, and they're down by 5 stars as we get into the end of this game.
Yeah, it's now or never for SSD. Fade likely to go down. Now they have to hold that line. Chino has a super. There is only 3-star requirement here. Zulon gets missed here, but he does get found out. He gets taken out in the last second. No, there's the kill on the other side, and it's going to be Pioneers taking that dub.
That was almost textbook from SSG to bring back the game at the very end. Bobby did a really good job going in with barely enough time left, but unfortunately for them, Tyrant just got the drop on Chino on the top left. I wasn't even watching that. I was too fixated on Bobby going in on the Ollie right there, but very well played by Kansas City Pioneers to be able to trade out that kill at the end. As we go into game number 2, KCP on set point right here as they grab that blue star for free.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Since this is a best of 3, losing a set early on is very, very difficult, more so than in a best of 5. So this is not something that SSG want, and another kill is confirmed. That is unfortunate for SSG.
Yeah, Sanchez gets caught out there by the Gus. It's going to be an unfortunate death, but I mean, they played from behind last game and almost were able to bring back the W, so I still got hope here, but it's going to be 3-0, and KCP has really no incentive to go up and feed at all. Obviously, Fade is going to be looking for that super, but Bobby's going in on Tyrant. That should be able to secure a kill onto the Byron right there, but Fade goes to the sky. He's going to be trying to take out Bobby. Is he going to super out? He elects not to, and that's going to be a little bit of a trade action going down. KCP still has a 3-star lead, though.
Yeah, beautiful stuff coming in from KCP here, and it's not looking that great for Space Station. They are quite far behind, all things considered, though Bobby has some utility to his name here, and they have to be concerned about how they're going to get this push going with only a minute here to make their move. A kill on his fade is exactly what they would need to get their lead, but a kill is being confirmed onto Tyrant here. Stands very low, but manages to get out of that situation.
That's a big kill from Chino. He's done a great job not missing any of the Mandy supers. It's a pretty difficult super to get, but once you have it, you can cycle it very easily if you make that connection. As we see, Chino already has another Mandy's Candies ready to fire, so he's going to be letting that rip, almost able to connect on Zulon. He would have still been able to survive it, but they would have been pretty weak. Could have caused some pressure right there. We've got 20 seconds left in the game, though. Still a 1-star difference on the side of KCP.
And Chino trying to snipe here, and he does manage to connect the shot onto Tyrant. That's huge. Bobby has a super, and 10 seconds. The time is winding down. SSG perfect position to be in right now. Zwan pops his gadget, gets a kill here. He's going to be able to get one more. Super coming in. Sans gets a kill on a fade, but it's still one more kill required, but Tyrant finds Sans. That's going to be KCB taking set number 1 against Space Station Gaming.
That was a pretty close finish. I mean, just like game number 1, I could definitely have seen a way where SSG walks out on top of that. But once again, KCP is just able to kind of chill out. They get that lead early and they don't lose it. That was a very, very well-played game from them. They definitely did not get too excited with the lead. They held their position and they knew what trade they needed to get at the end in both game number 1 and game number 2. So a well-earned victory on Shooting Star going to the side of KCP. Gonna need to see more from SSG when we get into Hideout here.
Indeed, that was very difficult for SSG. Obviously, they're never going to get the first blue star because of the fact that, you know, the Kenji's going to be able to get in and get there. And Fade was only used for the defensive line at the end of the game, so they played that really well. You saw the members of KCP, especially the Byron and the Gus, trying to farm their supers, trying to get their hypercharge online for the final interaction, and they were able to do so. There were some moments, I mean, I feel like not some moments, there were a lot of moments where it felt like it was going to go the way of SSG, but it just seemed like, you know, KCP had their number the entire time. So congratulations to them for taking set number 1 as we go into set number 2, which is going to be Hideout next, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, Hideout is personally a map that I do not enjoy playing on, but it is pretty fun to watch. I believe that there are a lot more aggressive picks that you're able to go with the amount of grass and the amount of walls here. That being said, though, it is a pretty good map to do wall break strategies on too. So we might even see stuff like the Gray with the hook coming through. We might see the Griff coming through with the bomb right there. I mean, Griff is a brawler, I think, that is very strong in the meta with that new hypercharge that he's received. So maybe we'll see a little bit more tankier compositions. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of the same with the range, but a lot of different things that you can go with here. I'm excited to see how these teams draft, and SSG needs to pull out a good draft here at some point.
Yeah, they gotta pull a rabbit out of the hat in this situation. It's not been working out that great for them. I feel like they're the cusp of greatness, but some minor misplays just keep on keeping them away from success. And also sometimes their draft is a little bit questionable, I would say. I hope that, you know, it's a little bit more refined as we go into Hideout right now. But gotta say, Kansas City Pioneers, even if it seemed like it was questionable at the end, I feel like everything went according to their game plan, and SSG weren't really able to compete and keep up with that aggression.
Yeah, they had a comp that was difficult to push into, and they knew for a fact they would get that blue star, which is, once again, such an important part of the bounty meta is getting that blue star. So brawlers like Carl, Kenji, that are able to just kind of use movement mechanics to get up to that star before the other team, it can just be so impactful because then the other team is going to be forced to push into you. And as a sniper, that's exactly what you want. You never want to be a Mandy or a Piper running into the face of the opponent. So the blue star is definitely a major determining factor for how these teams draft. And I'm curious if SSG maybe tries to get that on their side this time around.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing which did color me, which colored me surprised is that was probably the wrong way to use it, so whatever. I was surprised by the fact that Gray was open and none of the teams took it, and Gray is quite centralizing in the meta. So in the Brawl Cup, we saw Gray almost banned almost all the time or picked up. Now we do see it being banned, along with the Bell, Lumi, and Gus and Buster. Gene coming out for SSG as a first pick. Pearl going to be there for Pioneers. So with the ban of the Gray, I like this pick of Gene because you have the pulling mechanics and you don't have the annoyance of having that many pulls to deal with from the side of Pioneers here. Though they go for Pearl and Angelo. Angelo, one of the best brawlers here. Quite a high use rate and an especially high win rate as well to boot. Pearl coming out for a little bit of surety, I think they are quite happy with how Pearl does play here. Ollie's going to be brought out next for SSG for any sort of pulls or hypnosis. I feel like this is one of Ollie's better maps in Bounty, at least.
100%. This is a fantastic map for Ollie, especially with the star power that makes you fast when you're hovering against the wall. I feel like we might see that star power come into play here, but the Pearl is going to be kind of that pre-counter, kind of expecting a tank to come out from SSG. So they have a good tank counter. The Angelo is such an annoying brawler. I personally get so tired of playing Angelo, especially on this map. That Pierce gadget can just be so menacing, but SSG is going to get the Byron. They're going to have the Ollie, so they have two brawlers with healing capabilities and the tank. They might be able to juice that Ollie up nice and good to be able to go in for that final push. We see Pioneers finishing up their draft with the Carl though, so curious to see if the Carl is going to be on Flying Hook or Heat Ejector. If they do have Flying Hook, that is going to be free blue star, but then you're kind of giving up that utility that you have with the fire gadget for the rest of the game. So that's going to be something to keep our eye on here, but I feel like both of these comps are pretty passive, except for the Ollie, I guess. I don't know. We'll see who is going to be going in a little bit more aggro here, but I think that Pioneers are probably going to get that blue star.
Indeed. I like this coming out from Pioneers here. They're going to get the blue star. They have a lot of sustain as well, and I feel like SSG's composition relies so much on getting that gene pull at the last second, but the amount of pressure that gene pull creates is huge. So not a bad pick from SSG. As we go into game number 1 of the second set, Kansas City Pioneers are up 1-0 already. So SSG need this, or it's the curtains for them.
Yep, this is a pretty similar situation to what we saw last time. Pioneers are going to have that blue star, and Bobby's going to be trying to move his way up there. Almost bites the dust right there, but Sand's going to come through with some clutch healing. But overall right now, not too much action going down. Bobby's just going to be working towards that super as KCP plays defense.
Indeed, Bobby just kind of hold the line against Fade. There is the flying hook used by Tyrant. Finds a kill on Chino. Doesn't even have to use his super. And there is a super from Zulan, so he should be able to get Sands down pretty easily and pushes him back here. 3-star lead for KCP, and they have a lot of control here.
Very solid lead, very solid control. But if Tyrant does fall, that is the only kill that SSG needs to take the lead back into their hands. So definitely still a win condition here. Chino does have his pull online, as well as Bobby has his super too. So lots of utility from the side of SSG. Bobby's going to be going in here onto Zulan. He's got the hypnosis, and that's going to be a free kill. So now it's going to be 3-2. KCP still in the lead.
Indeed, 1-star game. Any kill that SSG gets is enough here for them. But I don't feel like they're going to be forcing the issues. They still have their gene pool. They didn't need to use it in that instance there, as they did split them with that super from Bobby. So great stuff from SSG to hold on here. But 25 seconds, and take it away, Duncan.
Probably going to wait for the last moment to go in here, but Bobby's actually calling it a little bit early. They're going to get Zulan here, and that's going to be a kill, but Fade's trying to get one of his own over on the top here. Sands is going to be able to hit him with the splash, though, and he does end up getting hooked. So that's the blue star lead on the side of KCP. Final push coming through here, Panda.
It was looking so great for SSG, but 6 seconds left. Now we see a little bit of desperation from Bobby. It's over as KCP take game number 1. They are now moving on a match point very swiftly against Space Station Gaming here.
I thought they might be able to get away with that, but Tyrant said not on my watch. He was able to get that kill on the return of his Carl pickaxe right there. So massive kill coming through there. Looks like SSG was going to walk away scot-free with that victory there, but well played by Pioneers, man. They are just not shaken by this pressure.
Yeah, for sure. And I gotta say, I said that KCP are looking really great in the first 2 match days, but it seems like they've turned over a completely new, I guess, forest, let's say, not even tree. As we go into game number 2 here, 1 game win here for KCP is all they need, but very aggressive start coming in from SSG. They're trying to find a kill under Tyrant, and Bobby does connect, but 45 HP. Tyrant is still alive now. Bobby in a very awkward position. Gonna go in with his super. He's not committing. Oh my god, he gets the kill on the Fade despite the super from Fade. Great stuff coming in from SSG as they take the lead. It's only a 1-star, but great stuff nonetheless.
Yeah, Fade was a bit early with that super, and we're going to see Angelo hitting a lot of poison shots, but Sands is just out healing the side of KCP right now. Chino is going to be able to stay alive. He has that pull online. Bobby has his super online as well, so this is for the first time we're going to see SSG, how they play defense. For the first time, Pioneers not going to be in the lead.
Yeah, it's a difficult position for Pioneers to be in, but one that SSG are welcoming, obviously, and they have a pull as well. So if somebody tries to go in a bit too aggressively and overstays their welcome, they might just get pulled into the clutches of SSG, and that's something to think about. Super coming from Bobby. He goes in for the jump as well, finds Zulan hypnotized. Zulan gets taken out, and the lead extends for SSG. Pull coming in! Tyrant gets taken out too!
What a fantastic pull. That was the absolute maximum range that you're able to pull from with the Gene. That was a fantastic job by Chino right there. And we have a 5-star lead on the side of SSG as we move into the final 30 seconds of this game. KCP is going to be popping Angelo Hyper. They're trying to move in. They have them fully trapped back in the back, but Chino has his hypercharge pull. Bobby's going in up here. Zulon is going to be hypnotized once again, and that's likely going to be a kill. 9-star lead, and that might just do it.
Ooh, Tyrant with his hypercharge staying alive. 11 seconds left. He's trying to go in, gets a flying hook, not able to get the kill onto Sands. That would have been great, but 11 stars here? They need a team wipe and a half. It's already over for KCPS. SSG have equalized this, and now things are just getting started.
That's much more like what we wanted to see from SSG right there. Bobby's locked in the dark room, trying to pull out a W for his team as they lost the first 3 games, but now they're only 1 win away from making it a tie. So definitely a good comeback from SSG with their back against the walls. They've got one more to try to pull it off there. They have to win this next game, Panda.
Yeah, it is now or never. I mean, they did face off against KCP almost at the end of this line here, but Bobby managed to get not managing to get the blue star, almost managed to get Tyrant there. So great start though from KCP to get this blue star. They're looking quite good. Connection from Fade as well with the super. Bobby might get taken out, but no, doesn't get found out. All the healings. I'm surprised that they allowed him to stay alive.
The double healer strat coming through clutch for SSG. If Bobby didn't have both the Gene and the Byron there, that would have been really difficult to deal with. But he is going to have his super online right now. We've seen him pretty much exclusively go in on Zulon, and it's worked every time. So Zulon's going to be probably grouping up with his team a bit more here. Both teams are kind of just fighting for mid control right now as the Byron splash is missed. That's not good value.
Yeah, that's a lot of utility gone, and I think they're pretty happy about how this is going to work out. It's not that easy to get your Byron super considering how many hits you have to connect in all of these walls, though. Chino has a super, and that's going to be pushing back KCP. They have to respect this magic hand, or it's going to grab you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they don't want to group up to avoid getting Gene pulled, but at the same time, if they leave anybody by themselves, Bobby can kind of go in and get that kill for free. So they're trying to balance those two ideologies right there, but SSG is going to be kind of pushing up here. Bobby with his super, maybe going to go in on the bottom right, but so far, so good. Both teams are kind of just content where they're at for now. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see too much action unfold to the last 20 seconds.
Indeed, it might be going down the wire here, and all the utility on SSG side makes me think that they aren't too concerned, though there is a hypercharge on Tyrant, so that's something to be concerned about. And Zulon surely might be close to his own hypercharge here against the super, and just a few shots away. 15 seconds, and the time is winding down here, Duncan.
Only 10 seconds on the board. SSG has to make their move now. The Vengeful Spirits are going to fly out, and here goes Bobby with that super. He's going for Fade. The pull is going to connect as well, but Tyrant has Hypercharge. He gets the double kill, and that is going to do it for KCP versus SSG. They waited for the last second, but they weren't able to walk away from that interaction with the W. Very well-earned victory to Kansas City Pioneers right here, and Tyrant is absolutely chilling as they collect that W. 3-0.
Bro still got his dogs out, man. Kansas City Pioneers take that dub, and in quite a dominant fashion. There were some signs of life from Space Station Gaming, but unfortunately it did not pan out for them. I did like what they were trying to do, but it just seemed like, the Carl got that super and the hypercharge at the right time, and it was just everything wrong for Space Station as they completely fell into shambles. But Kansas City Pioneers extend their lead on the leaderboards with a 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. I mean, you can't ask for much better than that through 3 days of league play. SSG surprisingly falling to a 1-2 record, though. Not the place that they wanted to be in throughout 3 days. It's going to make it a little bit even more difficult to make the final tournament here. But, I mean, that's not what SSG fans wanted to see, but Pioneers fans can go to bed happy tonight after a dominant victory right there.
Indeed, and the next match is going to be Stamina versus Crumbs, but we'll have more for you after after the break of 3 minutes. So we'll see you guys then. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GKR NA 2025. I am your host, Panda, joined by the amazing Duncan, and we had a pretty banger match, I would say, Pioneers versus Space Station, which was the first one. It went by the way of Pioneers in a 2-0 sweep. It wasn't clean, though, but I feel like Pioneers looked quite dominant against the Space Station side from the draft, or even in terms of the execution. So unfortunately for Space Station, that wasn't the dub that they won, but right now we got to focus on the next game. It's going to be Stamina Esports versus Crumbs, and Stamina Esports has recently picked up Juan Carlos after dropping Steel. The proposition to pick up the remnants of X Elevate Squad felt a bit too enticing for Stamina to relinquish with, so that is why they decided to pick up. And because of this Juan Carlos acquisition, they look more threatening going into the second split. Their opponents, Crumbs, are also tied with them on the leaderboards, but it's still this third match day, right? But both of these teams have won one and lost one. Crumb did beat Motomami's on day one, but are facing a much more polished squad this time around, Duncan.
Yeah, STMN is definitely not a team to overlook here. Even before they picked up Juan Carlos, I still thought they were a pretty underrated team right now. And now that they add a very good veteran with the Juan Carlos, I feel like they are kind of going to give themselves a chance to maybe take themselves to that next level. And Crumbs is not going to be an easy win by any stretch of the means, but it's a good team to get some reps in and some competitive gameplay. I'm looking forward to see how Juan looks though.
Indeed, and we're gonna go into our draft here. We have our bans. They're gonna be Angelo, Lumi, Hank, and Byron, Lumi, and Gus. So double Lumi bans. The map is Shooting Star. Bell's gonna be brought out first. We still have Piper and Mandy for our conventional sharpshooters as the field opens up. We also have Gray, which is open, along with the Gene, and Stamina is opting for Nani. Obviously, on paper, Nani is really great because it has probably one of the longest range, obviously, say for Mandy, and it's great to answer both a Bell and a Piper, and even a Byron, to say the least, as the next pick is for Stamina.
Yeah, Nani's always been a good bounty brawler and probably always will be. That return to sender gadget is such a good like pre-counter to brawlers like Piper, Mandy, and Bell that kind of pack most of their punch in a single shot.
What is Banny doing?
I have no idea what Banny's doing, but I'm feeling the pressure right here. Anyway, though, they're going to take the Nani and the Gene. I really like that turn from STMN because one of the things that does counter the return to sender gadget is a Gene pick. So a lot of teams will draft Gene into Nani for that reason. STMN's taking away that possibility for Crumbs. And even though the Bell is pretty solid into the Gene, I still think that the utility of that pull is going to be enough to justify it. Crumbs going to pick up the Carl.
I like this Carl pick, but just going back to Banny, I thought that Banny was bald. I'm a little confused. Is he wearing a wig or something, chat? Anyway, Gene's going to be there for Stamina Esports, and I like this Gene because you can pull the Carl. Obviously, the Carl was picked after the Gene, so don't get that twisted. But this last pick for Crumbs is there, and there's a pull on Stamina's side. Crumbs do not have a pull of their own. They don't have any sustain either. They have a aggro presence here, but let's see what they go for this with their last pick here, Duncan.
Looks like it's not coming through quite yet, but it's going to be the RT. That makes a decent amount of sense. I mean, with the last pick, STMN could have potentially went aggro, so Crumbs is going to go with that RT to try to make sure that they don't go too aggressive on them. I think it's a pretty good versatile pick right there. You obviously have that range, and then with the Hacks gadget, sometimes you can get a cheeky two-tap on a brawler like Nani, so I think it makes sense from Crumbs' perspective, but like I said, it's kind of there to counter aggro, and there's no aggro on the side of STMN yet as they go into their last pick.
Yeah, exactly. And Gray is going to be coming out. I like the Gray. I told you, right? They need to have a pull, but they have two pulls, so they have a lot of possibilities to get these kills. But my question is, can they hang long enough to be able to maximize on those utilities? Because they're going to be facing a lot of long-range opposition here, so it's not going to be an easy task, all things considered. But I feel like the skill diff might play a role here as we go into game number one between Stamina and Crumbs, not Totems, Crumbs.
Yeah, that's a little bit confusing there, but it looks like we are going to see the blue star go into the side of Crumbs here. It's going to be sitting on Banny right there, but Ormy's going to be trying to hold down this positioning. Tacos and Steel trying to get a little bit of a pinch off, though, and that is going to be a lot of position conceded here. Banny's going to be quite weak as well, and he falls already, so we already see STMN grabbing the lead here, and they're going to retreat with that blue star on their head. Ooh.
Indeed. Ooh, that looks crazy. Pain gets taken down. That is huge, but there is a little bit of a trade, but trade coming back. Banquiki on a tear gets a 3-star lead for the side of Crumbs here. 90 Peep coming in. It finds its mark onto the RT, but nobody to pick it off. Steel has a pull, but right now not in a great position to pull it.
Oh, Tacos is going to miss his hook as well, and that's going to result in him going down here. It's going to be tough for Pain to survive this as well. He's putting on the jukes, and somehow is still going to stay alive. Steel's going to pull Ormy on the other side, so a lot of trades going down here, but at the end of it all, we still see Crumbs with a 4-star lead, including the blue star.
It seems like it's a cross lane diff diagonally. So on one side you have Stamina getting the kill, on the other side you have Crumbs, and I'm not sure who's really winning here. Obviously it's a 4-star lead for Crumbs now. Hypercharge from Zemp, he goes in, finds a mark on it, Pain, but gets punished for overstaying his welcome. A kill has been confirmed on Ormi, but Banquiki picks up the slack, and there is the hypercharge peep also coming in, finds its way onto Ormi once more. He's getting buffeted every which way.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage, but as an RT, he can somewhat afford it. But they've got that teleport still up on the left-hand side. STMN's going to be waiting for a moment to go in here. Tacos does go in, and he's going to teleport out. They are still losing by the blue star with 10 seconds left on the board. They're just going to be trying to pick up a singular kill, but Pain is one shot. Steel is going to get tagged up here. The Grey Hook connects, and Zemp is going to fall. They have the lead right now. Banny's going in, and he secures the kill. Fantastic play from Banny to get that kill at the very end of the game. Really good coordination. They had no more time to waste than that.
Bald Banny is the GOAT of Brawl Stars, and now we get to see Unk Zemp. Oh, he also manicured his beard. Looks really good. But great start from Crumbs. Amazing first game. It was really very difficult because you had to keep your wits about you. At the last second, it seemed like, Stamina Esports were going to be running away with it, but Banny came out clutch.
That was incredibly clutch, man. The end of bounty games can just be so electric sometimes, and this one was absolutely no exception. Going into game 2, though, we do see Banny picking up that blue star once again as expected, but Zemp is going to hit a nasty tag onto Pain, so that's going to be a 3-star lead. Obviously, we saw a lot of action going down last game, so really nothing to be too comfortable with yet, but still, nonetheless, it's a good start.
Ooh, Zemp was low, but our GOAT Betty was there to pick up that shot there, soak up a little bit of that HP there. Ooh, a little bit of the damage, but Ormi gets taken out now. Again, Betty just ensuring that his team still has the lead. This man is doing everything and more.
He really is. Pain is going to be going in with his Nani Peep, though. Going for Zemp, he's just going to take out that wall instead, trying to take out a little bit of the cover, make himself more useful going into the end of this game here. But not really too much action going down yet. Tacos does have his teleport set up, but clearly not going to TP into an RT with Super. That would be a death wish. Banny getting a little bit of damage here, but still, both teams are pretty content. 4-star lead still for the side of Crumbs.
Yep, Zemp. Ooh, he always gets found out a little bit. He gets picked off one by one, but that's unfortunate here. On the right-hand side, he's being pushed back all the way. Nice pull coming in, and Banny falls, but the lead is still firmly rested on the side of Crumbs.
They do have that blue star on the side of STMN now, though, but Pain is going to be under some pretty heavy scrutiny. Banny's going in, and he's going to get out with his life. Very well played to not get over-aggressive right there. Zemp has 4 stars, so he is going to be the player to watch here. They need to take out Zemp if they want to get the lead back over to their side with only 1 player.
And I can't believe that this is the situation that Stamina Esports is in right now. 3-star deficit. It's all or nothing. Hypercharge being popped on either side. Kills coming in. Stamina takes the lead. Now Banquiki trying, but he gets taken out, and our hopes and dreams crash, and it is going to be equalized with Crumbs taking this dub here. So we're going to go to game number 3 to figure out who is going to be taking set number 1.
Thought Banny might be able to make the hero play there. I know the chat would have went crazy for a bald Banny dub right there, but we're going into game number 3. Really good action going down so far. Crumbs has maintained a lead throughout the beginning of both of these games, but STMN was able to walk away pretty cleanly from that one. Excited to see how game number 3 goes. Expecting the beginning to be pretty similar, though, with Crumbs getting that blue star and playing the defensive side.
Yeah, great stuff coming in from Stamina at the end there, but blue star this time is still with reply totem because of the HUD there, but yeah, still on the side of Crumbs. And right now we're seeing Stamina moving up. This is what happened last time in the game before as well, so it's pretty standard. Right now we just have to get our utilities online, but Zemp always overstaying his welcome a little too much for my comfort.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Pain kind of just use most of his supers to break up that wall this time. So curious what he does with his peeps this time around. STMN has great positioning right now, though. Banny's going to be going up, forcing out a TP from Tacos. Good job by Tacos to get out of that, but still likely would have liked to use that teleport up a little bit higher. We're going to see the Nani Peep go in just for a little bit of wall break, which is pretty much all he's gotten out of it so far, but he almost gets tagged there by Zemp. He's going to be trying to force this kill onto Pain, and he does secure it, so that's 3-0.
Yeah, this is looking really great for Crumbs. Nice pull coming in. Banny in trouble, but he manages to use his flying hook to get out. Super being brought out by by Tacos, but hasn't been doing him all that much here. I'm surprised that Seal's playing instead of one Carlos in this tournament.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that we were even talking about at the beginning, but I mean, he's definitely doing a great job so
Mhm.
far. Zemp is going to go
Oh.
down with that Return to Sender and Vengeful Spirits combo. Tacos finds himself in a tough spot too. He's going to have to use his Hyper Portal to get out of there, and he might even actually be going back in now. Banny and Ormi are both going to be in a tough spot, but the RT is going to use that super and secure both of those kills, and he gets a
Ormi, my
third on top
goat!
of it.
Ormi, my
Absolute squad
goat!
wipe. Wow.
Oh my god, Hypercharge being popped, Seal gets taken down, and that is basically all she wrote. Taco's trying, but these are just death rattles. Stamina falls, and first tag is gonna go the way of Crumbs. My goat! Oh my god.
I don't know how Orby managed to get the entire squad wipe right there. We're going to see Zemp bringing out the Crumbs victory hat with the bald Banny poster too. Absolutely dripping on all of us viewers here. But that was a crazy way for Shooting Star to end right there. Ormy definitely going to be the MVP of game number 3. But I mean, Crumbs can't get too comfortable yet. STMN put up a good fight, and we've still got Hideout and potentially Layer Cake coming out here too. But that was an electric Shooting Star match.
That was beautiful. Honestly, I didn't expect it to be as close as it was. But that being said, I thought that Stamina would run away with it, considering the composition, the roster that they have, and the repute that they have. So it is interesting to see how dominant Crumbs were. And in the last game especially, we saw every single member of the team perform, right? It wasn't just it wasn't just the Benny show. Even though we love the Brawl Benny show, it was a complete combined effort. And that's why Stamina were completely, left by the wayside. They have to change their strategy going into Hideout here, Duncan.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, there was definitely all 3 of those games were winnable for both teams. So I don't think that it's necessarily any team that's like clearly the favorite going into this at this point. Crumbs only needs 2 more wins to be able to walk away with their second victory of the tournament. That has to be huge for their team morale. As a team that kind of comes in as a little bit of an underdog, they have definitely held their own against some of these more reputable orgs.
Indeed, and now we're gonna go into Hideout here. I like the compositions from the side of Crumbs here. I feel like they played a little bit more towards what the meta is conducive to, whereas Stamina played a little bit more towards what they're comfortable to classically for this map here. So maybe in the Hideout, we might see a little bit of some changes here. The map is less open, obviously. And as you see, the paradigm shifts from a completely open sort of expectation to a completely wall sort of expectation. We're going to go into our draft for set number 2. The bans are already here. Lumi, Ollie, Lily, Belle, Lumi, and Gus. Double Lumi ban. It's pretty interesting, but there isn't a Gene ban, and it's going to be picked up by Crumbs. A Gray surely should be coming in for Stamina here, Duncan.
I would have to agree with you on that. I mean, we see that this is a little bit more of a shorter range map, just kind of from the bans. I mean, Lily and Ollie being banned, as well as both teams banning Lumi, is kind of conducive towards that more closed off map. I like the Gene first pick, but I honestly do kind of like the Gray better. So I'm a little bit surprised to see the Gene falling before the Gray. Would be surprised as well as you, Pan, to not see STMN pick it up here, but they are going with the RT here. I guess they don't want to let Ormi have an absolutely disgusting squad wipe for the second game in the row, which is fair enough. I'd be scared of Ormi's RT as well. But I mean, they've got one more pick here. May see the Gray come out. Maybe they'll even go a little bit more aggro. But I think the RT is a good tank to turn at the very least.
Yep, and we're gonna get the Sphinx coming out for Stamina Esports. I do like the Sphinx, but it's not an easy brawler to play all the time, so you got to be careful about how you use your gadgets, your super as well. But that super is almost a guaranteed hit if people are within range and they don't expect it, so that's something to think about. But you can't go wrong with the Max Gene combination. Classically tried, tested, and true. So beautiful stuff coming out for Crumbs, and Betty knows it. You can see that menacing smile.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a little devious smile on his face. You love to see it. They pick up a Carl as well. So they have, honestly, all things considered, a pretty aggressive comp for Hideout here. I mean, they don't have any tanks, but Carl can kind of function as a pseudo tank, especially if he's rocking Flying Hook and can kind of dash in there. So I like what Crumbs is going for. What I'm curious about is if they took the Finks to maybe slow down that Gene Magic Hand. I feel like that could be kind of the rationale behind them drafting that. I haven't really seen it play out in person, but I'm definitely excited to see if that's something they plop down right before Gene Super comes in. Maybe makes it easier to dodge. They've got their final pick coming through here, though. And it's going to be a Jae Young, Panda.
I like that Jae Young. The adaptability Jae Young is huge. The gadget just gives you so much of damage. And I guess the sustain is also huge as well. I like this from Stamina, but there's just something with the Max Gene which is so difficult to really go up against. The Carlos is going to be doing a number, but the difficulty for Crumb's combination is that can they hold on against the effort and the ooh, what already 2 kills within 10. Okay, I need to calm down.
Guess we're into the game, Panda. Guess we are into the game, brother. Holy, that was quite the start. But I mean, we're gonna see. This is probably going to be our fastest bounty match of the day with a Max on one side and a Jaeyong on the other. Pain's going to be able to juice his teammates. Zemp is going to be able to juice his teammates, but Banny is going to be quite weak right now. And we're going to see when Zemp is going to use that speed super right now. Ormy's pushing up onto the right side. The positioning is on the side of Crumbs, but the lead's still sitting with STMN by 1 star.
Yeah, Banny has a pull, and I think that they're just going to be holding onto this pull for now. They do have the blue star, but they are down in terms of the overall star count here, so they don't want to force the issue. I feel like it's pretty even for them, but Banny isn't going to have the range required to get the pull just yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to want to wait for Zemp to pop that speed to go in with the max speed, use the gene pull. It's a combo as old as time, but we're going to see the Jaeyong just cycling between his heal mode and his speed mode, but they really have no incentive to push out of this back left corner right here. They're trying to clear out a little bit of space, but Crumbs seems more than comfortable waiting for the end of this game, but only 40 seconds left, and they're still losing, so curious kind of what they're waiting for at this point.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. The speed is theirs, and now they've separated themselves. They've split between the top and the bottom here, and we have Stamina very concerted with keeping control of all the areas that they need to be in. It's not easy to move into the Stamina composition, but the speed right now is what we're probably going to see the effort from Crumbs here.
Oh, there it goes, but he actually is going to die right after hitting that pull. His teammates are still able to walk away with the kill, but Zemp is going to be incredibly weak. Still, the lead is on the side of STMN with less than 10 seconds left. I mean, it just looks like Crumbs might be a little bit too weak to get any kills here, and Zemp does indeed fall. Banny's likely going to follow as well. That's going to be a full squad wipe at the end, and I mean, they were waiting for the end of that game, but just were not really able to walk away with any type of victory at the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, it might seem like the Cinderella story might start unraveling here. Hopefully for the side of Crumbs that's not the case, but Stamina looking quite good in this first game here. Obviously there was that pull from Crumbs, and I feel like they should have capitalized on it without dying, and that lead change was all that Stamina needed to really force the issue. Right now blue star on Stamina's side, not on the side of Crumbs here, so again Crumbs working from behind.
Yep, and they're going to be taking some pretty significant damage over here from Steel too. Pain is going to be trying to pinch them, and they're all going to have to fall back into their corner right now. Pain's popping that damage gadget. He is going to take 1 kill, so it's going to be 3-0. They might even be able to get another one while they have this positioning, but Banny's going for the pull, and Tacos actually teleports out, and his teammates tank the bench pull. Wow, that is fantastic teamwork from STMN right there.
Beautiful recognition of what to do in that moment. The ever-present nature of Tacos, just using the gadget to get out of that situation right as he got pulled. So beautiful stuff for him. Saucing out those sprays as well to add insult to injury. Pain with his gadget as well. 5-star lead, another kill. Zemp goes down, and another gadget, a bait coming in from Tacos, and Orby gets bamboozled.
Tacos is just playing with them right now, throwing up the sprays too, trying to get in their head. Absolutely diabolical work. He's trying to get in their head, and it is going pretty well from what I can tell. 7-0 right now. That is going to be a great pull, though. That's 4 stars going back, so they are not out of the water yet. If Pain falls here, that's going to be the lead going back to Crumbs, but Ormy drops. Almost able to walk away with a sneaky take back right there.
Oh my god, that was almost perfect for Crumbs, but now in a bad situation. They need a 4-star. They need to get 5 stars basically to win here. That's going to be a kill combination of Tacos and anybody else on the side of Stamina here. So that is something interesting, but 20 seconds left, and right now Crumbs have to force the issue. Steel is going to be a wall right next to the wall itself, and a lot of healing coming in from Pain is just going to keep him alive as well. Ormy goes down, that is huge. Steel finds another. Zemp is going to get taken down by Pain. Pull coming in, but it gets missed because of that super, and beautiful stuff from Stamina to equalize the score at 1 apiece for the set. We're going to go to set number 3.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to push past an RT with setup like that, and that is exactly what we saw. Just absolutely clap them the second that they overstepped their boundary. So pretty easy set win going to STMN there. There were moments where I thought Crumbs might be able to walk away on top, but overall that was definitely controlled and dominated by the side of Stamina. So well played to them to tie us up here. And for the first time today, we're going to be going to set 3, which is on Layer Cake, Pan.
Yeah, and Layer Cake like we said, the maps are going from the open maps to the cagier maps to the cagier maps, right? And now layer cake is basically, you know, that whole idea on steroids. You have so much of grass, you have a lot of walls, you're gonna have so much more aggression. The number of compositions that you can run in this map are staggeringly a lot, because you could go for either pull-based compositions or a lot of aggro or just control. And I don't think any composition is bad, but it just comes down to overall executions. This map specifically in Brawl Cup, we saw so many last-second turnarounds that happened. So I feel like Bounty is more of the last-second game mode right now.
100%. And I really like the way that you phrase that, where we're going from the open maps to the closed maps. But what that kind of does also is it increases the pool of viable brawlers that these teams are able to draft. In Shooting Star, you're not going to be able to get away with picks like throwers more often than not, tanks more often than not, excluding like Ollie and Lily. But now that we move on to Layer Cake, there's definitely a lot more tankier options, a lot more assassin options that you can actually justifiably play with. So I'm curious to see if we'll see some not as much of the meta brawlers get picked up here. Hopefully we get to see some aggro, maybe even a little Kenji or Lily action.
Yeah, I would love to see that, because Kenji right now is absolutely bonkers. So that hypercharge, you can just pop the wow, voice crack at 34. You can pop the purple button, jump in on enemies, and like completely wreak havoc on them. One of the strongest hypercharges, and I expect it to be nerfed in the next balance changes. But Lily, on the other hand, also really strong, especially in the last late game. I feel like hypercharges are probably the most suited for a game mode such as Bounty, because those last second interactions are basically all that matter. We're going to go into our draft, and we have Lumi, Hank, Kenji, Juju, Jackie, and Jean being banned out. What I see is that you have a poll possibility and Shade coming out. East Asia's favorite, even EMEA. I think that this brawler is really great on this map, and it really comes down to how these teams pilot them.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I know we just talked about how more aggressive brawlers are going to be pickable here, but this is even way more aggressive than I was picturing, Panda. We've got a Shade and a Buzz in the first two picks. Kind of crazy to see, but I mean, judging from the bans too, it seems like that is going to be the meta here. I mean, no Jackie, no Hank, no Kenji. It seems like these teams are scared of the tank, the assassin type brawlers, and that's exactly how this draft is unfolded. We do see the Gray come out though for a little bit of pull potential.
I like this because the pull potential is just going to make sure that Shade can't hug the walls as much. Obviously, Hank is one of the better answers to Shade, but like, if you're in a position where you're pulled in front of the wall by that Gray, it's just going to be very difficult for you to get out of that. So I like this Gray. Also lets you teleport into a point. You're also able to set up your teleporters in such a way that it benefits your team, or to get out of situations, or to go in and get those kills. So great. Probably one of the best brawlers to pick on a map such as this, and Gus going to be coming out. Like the Gus, it really supports the Shade.
Yeah, I think that it's probably what they're going for there. I mean, you do want a little bit of range on this map, even though there is a lot of aggro going down here, but the Gus is a fantastic pick. He can keep himself alive, he can keep his teammates alive, and they're going to be pairing that up with a Finks. I feel like that's a pretty solid pick as well. I mean, we saw how much value that teleport can get in the last set, and that's going to allow you to get out of a Buzz hook. It's going to allow you to get away from a Gray teleport. So I feel like it's a pretty solid brawler, and it kind of pre-counters out any additional aggro that STMN might go with this final pick.
This Finks is really great, but Jaeyoung's going to be coming out, and all the projectiles of stamina are going to be slowed down by the Finks, and conversely, the projectiles of Finks and Gus are going to be much faster. But I am not too sure about how I feel about this Crumbs composition, because you have the healing from Jaeyoung, you have the ability to pull people in, you have the stuns as well. Stamina looks really strong, but I feel like, you know, Crumbs has been cooking, and we should let them cook.
I'm willing to let them cook, but if I had to put my money on which comp is better, I got to lean with STMN. I really do like the Jaeyoung to wrap up their comp. They're going to be able to juice the Buzz with speed, with HP, kind of whatever he needs. But going into our final set right here, we do see that the Jaeyoung is going to allow... Oh, wait, it's not a Jaeyoung. That's a Larry, if I'm not mistaken. But we do still see STMN walk away with the blue star in the beginning of this game.
I still like Larry. I think that Larry is... this is one of Larry's most viable maps, along with... that one Brawl Ball map that I don't remember. Nice pull coming in, but the super is going to be there for Bankwiki. He finds a kill on the tacos, and the lead is going to be extended. Or rather, there's a lead change for Crumb, so great, but a super coming in from Steel. He doesn't manage to get the pull just yet there, and he is going to be going back on defensive. It is a great spot for Crumbs here, but they might be pressured. Ooh, Ormy didn't have to do that to tacos, but he did.
That was a great Finks teleport to maintain his life there. It looked like they might lose all their stars in the back of the spawn, but they actually had a great job backing up on defense, maintaining that lead right here. And now they are still getting pushed, but they're up by 3 stars. Banny is going to be the deciding factor as far as that goes, but he's already got a hypercharge online. Zemp going in with super here, kind of leaving his teammates with Tacos though. So Tacos might be looking for a gap here. He does go onto the Finks, but the Gust Shield's going to knock him away, and he's going to fall for that. The lead just keeps extending for Crumbs.
Yeah, that shade pick is doing them so many favors, especially with the support from Benny as well. He's just so instrumental for the success of the team. Now, though, in a difficult position, though, Stamina have pushed the Crumbs Swastra all the way to the spawn. There is a hypercharge being brought out by Steel, but misses the pull, which is unfortunate. Now Zemp is there. He uses his super just to hold the line. He's going to go up against Pain, but Pain uses his gadget. Now Zemp in an awkward position. Manages to use his super to get out again. I'm not sure how this guy's still alive, but he's doing a mano-a-mano against a bot, but he manages to come out on top. Another kill confirmed for Crumbs, and they take the lead. They are up in game score. They're going to be here on match point against Stamina Esports.
Didn't expect us to see a Crumbs match point already here, but Zemp somehow surviving in his 1v1 against the Lori right there. That was absolutely crazy to see, but I don't know, that comp is looking better than I expected off rip here. I mean, the Larry didn't seem to get a whole lot done. They had good positioning, but were never really able to converge and actually get those kills when they had Crumbs pinned back in the spawn. So going into match point right now, STMN once again going to grab that blue star for free. But I mean, that they got it last time and they just ended up falling apart. I think that was the only star they got, if I'm not mistaken, Pan.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, pull coming in from Steel, but nobody there to capitalize on it. And it's the same story that we saw last time. Steel has all these pulls, but if you're not going to be able to use it really, then what's the point? If even having the gray on them on your loadout here as we go into the last 90 seconds here, Duncan.
Yeah, Pain's going to be trying to get that Lori charged up here, and he does indeed have it. No supers online for Crumbs right now, and we saw how important the Gust Shield was at the end of last game. Ormy's going to be trying to get a little bit more value up here. He's sliming up here, maintaining decent enough positioning. But I mean, there's just really not a whole lot going down right now. Banny does have shield. Zemp gets pulled through the wall and stunned. The Gust Shield might save him for some time, though, and the Buzz is going to be incredibly weak, but he goes in on Ormy. Zemp gets that trade, and after all that, Crumbs is just up by the blue star.
Beautiful stuff coming in from Crumbs here now. Ooh, they try to go on the left-hand side, but the portals were activated there, so that was a little bit unfortunate here. But 15 seconds left, and Taco's going in. Taco's getting found out here. He just went in and out straight to his grave, which is unfortunate. And as I say, from the cradle to the grave, and that's what's happening in Stamina. But it is a 2-star lead only for Crumbs, so any kill is enough, and that's exactly what happens. They get the kill onto Zemp with only 35 seconds. Crumbs have to pull up their stocks, otherwise they're going to take the L here.
Yeah, this is the latest that we've seen STMN maintain a lead here. Tacos is probably going to fall down, though, but Zemp is keeping up that pressure.
Wow.
They do have the lead, though, so he has no incentive to go in further than he already has. Look at that movement speed, man. Absolutely disgusting stuff. But there's only 20 seconds left, Panda, as STMN is trying to get back this lead.
Yeah, Tacos has a super. That might be the win condition here for them. Pain is going to be low, but he has his super as well. Ooh, a connection from Steel, but Ormy is still very much alive. There's going to be Hypercharge coming in. Double stun as well. Oh, no. All the kills, a complete team-wide Stamina are able to equalize this one, and we go all the way to the last game on a double match point.
That was such a good job by Tacos, waiting for the right moment to go in with that buzz stun. You could tell that Gus was kind of waiting, trying to bait him in so he could knock him back before the stun connects, but he was patient enough to secure that kill. And just honestly, they secured a whole squad wipe right there. Going to walk away very easily with that victory, but incredible game right there. The lead keeps on going back and forth and back and forth.
Wait, don't we have one more game, or is it done?
Yeah, we should have one more game.
So unfortunately, we'll inform production of that.
And I gotta see how this last game goes, man. This has been electric so far.
Yeah, apologies for the delay. We're just waiting for it to get back here. Once we get the stream online, I mean, we can show you guys, but apologies, because I mean, that was a really hype moment, right? Like, obviously you want to, you know, listen in on what's happening.
Yeah.
BSC production? This is a different production. This is called GKR NA 2025. So, got you there, Fuad. We're just waiting on production to show us the spectate. Otherwise, you know, I don't think production realizes.
Seems like they want to get into Tribe Gaming Elevate, but I mean, there we
There
go.
we go.
Okay, guys, we've got set 3 here. It looks like
What?
the score is already 18
What?
to 11. So it looks like we missed a lot of insane action, but here goes Tacos trying to get that lead back. He's going around the long way and he's going to stun Zemp, but he can't connect any shots while he's stuck in that wall. And that is going to do it. Crumbs is going to get the victory right there. It looks like the graphics might have cursed STMN. We're going to see Crumbs pull off an upset, Panda.
Yeah, beautiful stuff coming in from Crumbs here. They just looked like they were completely in control. I felt like there were moments of brilliance coming in from the side of... wait, never mind. I have to show the scene. It's okay. Since it's a clean feed, we can... Yeah, okay. I didn't actually show the gameplay. Okay. Okay.
This is all we got.
This is all we got. This is all we got, chat. This is all we got. Tacos went in, but he got taken out by Zemp, and that's it. That is Stamina taking the dub.
Yeah, that was a very well-earned win for Crumbs, man. They're going to be 2-1 throughout 3 days. I personally did not expect them to have this good of a record so far. I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way, but I mean, they're making a name for themselves here, man. They are looking like one of the a team that you really can't just look over as far as the North American region goes. Hopefully, they'll be able to start qualifying for some monthly finals, and we'll get to see them on an even bigger stage.
Indeed. Once more, I'd like to apologize on the behalf of production that we couldn't show you the entirety of the last game, which is unfortunate because we got so many kills there. But hopefully we aren't going to have any more issues for the rest of the stream. We're going to go into Tribe Gaming versus Elevate, but we're going to take a short break of about 2.5 minutes, and we'll see you guys then. Hello everybody and welcome back to match day number 3 of GKR NA 2025. We have finished 2 amazing games today, which was Pioneers versus Space Station, which went to Pioneers 2-0. Then we had Stamina Esports versus Crumbs, where we had Ball Betty and Unc Zemp just completely running right over Stamina Esports. It felt like Stamina lost the plot there, so congratulations to Crumbs. But now we have the most anticipated game, at least for me, for the day. It's going to be Tribe Gaming versus Elevate. And these teams are the 2 representatives for NA for the Brawl Cup. The performance, though, wasn't what most NA fans were looking for, though Elevate did make it to day 2, which is definitely good for them. Additionally, there has been some muy caliente Twitter beef between some of the members of the 2 rosters, so this is surely going to promise to be a very exciting match, possibly an NA Classico for 2025. I don't know, Dunk, but I'm excited for this one.
I mean, it's as close to a Classico as we're getting into NA this year so far. I'm super excited to get into it, though. Definitely the most hotly anticipated matchup of the day. The 2 representatives for the region that went to Brawl Cup. But I mean, they didn't get to play each other at Brawl Cup. Obviously, both teams fell a little earlier than we as NA fans would have hoped for. But Tribe has been absolutely dominant in all of the NA inter-regional plays so far. They have beat Elevate, I believe, every single time so far this year. So Elevate's got a lot to play for. Definitely going to be the underdog going into this one. But I mean, both teams have a ton to play for here.
Yeah, and just talking about how dominant Tribe Gaming is. Yes, they didn't have the best showing at Brawl Cup, and that's unfortunate since it was on home turf and everything, but sometimes you need to have these setbacks, and might be copium, but I feel like this is something that you can really grow from, seeing the level that you're at compared to some of the other teams. So this is something that hopefully Tribe Gaming take as a positive going forward. But obviously they're still undefeated in NA, so that's still something that can't change, right? I mean, you can't change the fact that Tribe Gaming is the most dominant roster in NA currently, even though Elevate has had a better international land showing. So it's going to come down to both of these teams, and I'm interested in seeing how this one turns out, though I have to mention that Alianis and Patchy aren't the regular members of the Elevate squad, so that might be a little bit of a talking point here in terms of the uncertainty involved, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, something else to think about is that we did just see KCP elevate themselves to be the only 3-0 team throughout our first 3 days of GKR. Tribe is sitting at 2-0 though, so if they pick up this win here, then they will remain tied for first with the Kansas City Pioneers. Elevate currently sitting at 1-1, so this is definitely a little bit of a make or break game for them. They could either win and be 2-1, taking down Tribe Gaming, or like SSG, they're going to fall to 1-2 and have a little bit of an upward battle trying to get back into playoff contention for GKR. So the stakes are pretty high here, and I mean, if you have a must-win game, I would not want to see Tribe on the other side of that.
Yeah, indeed. And I believe all these players have been to international lines before. Wait, I don't know about Alianis, but he is definitely a player for Repute nonetheless. We're going to go again back into Shooting Star, followed by Hideout. And if it's required, we will go into Layer Cake, which I think was going to be interesting. I like this match day specifically. Yeah, a lot of people don't like Bounty, but it comes down to those last second interactions so often that it does get quite interesting.
Yeah, it can definitely get pretty electric, especially with the way that some of these more established teams play it. They know exactly when to go in at the very end of the game. So you'll see them play pretty passive until the last 30 to 20 seconds, and then we'll see the full team push going in. The strategy for when to go in and when to back off is one of the most important parts of Bounty. So expecting these teams that have a lot of experience to definitely be pretty polished with that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing how these drafts happen. A lot of people keep saying Tribe Gaming has some of the best drafts, and then Elevate also is in that conversation. Obviously, Elevate hasn't beaten Tribe Gaming, and they're looking to do that the first time today, obviously. But it's not that easy, right? I mean, it's a very dominant Tribe Gaming squad. I don't think we've seen as dominant of a Tribe Gaming squad ever in NA in the domestic side of things. But we're gonna go into our draft here, Shooting Star, and the bans are gonna be Jean, No Pole, Mandy, Piper, Lumi, Angelo, and Jean. So a lot of the usual bans here, though Gray is very much available, and Gus gonna be brought out by Tribe Gaming as a first pick on this map.
Yeah, Gus feels like a pretty safe first pick. He's got good range. He has good takedown ability, especially once he gets those cookie poppers on the field. He can kind of get a cheeky kill with that gadget. It basically hits the same as 2 shots, but Elevate is going to take the bell. Not surprised to see that brawler fall into the mix here. I definitely am looking at Gray and Nani as some other options, and we do see the Gray come off the board immediately after that, so they have that pull capabilities. They have the teleport to be able to go in at the end of the game. Definitely something to keep your eye out for.
Indeed, you have to be very careful when you're facing off against that Gray, just because you get pulls every 23 seconds. That's a little scary. Over the course of a bounty match, that's like 78 pulls. If you get it right, I mean, the amount of errors that you can make is fine, right? Like, you can have a lot more errors as a Gray than as a Jean for the pull. But Mo's going to be coming out for Tribe along with the Nani. I like the Nani pick. It's great. But Mo is a pretty interesting pick here, considering all the brawlers that we're seeing so far. Though, I think that with Gus's shield, Mo can do a lot of work against this Elevate roster so far.
I am confused to see a mouse on my screen right now. I'm not going to lie, Pan. Shooting Star Mo is not something I had on my bingo card for today. But, I mean, sure, I got to trust Tribe's vision. I mean, they are Tribe Gaming, so I guess I'll hear him out here. I can see how it would work with the Gus shield, but a little bit questionable to me. We're going to see Elevate go with the Eve final pick. It makes a decent amount of sense. I mean, without the Angelo, you still like being able to utilize that water that's behind those unbreakable walls. So the Eve is fine. You want a little bit more DPS to be able to deal with that Mo once he dives in, but I'm super intrigued. I mean, definitely the player to watch for me is going to be the mouse. I mean, no other way to say it.
Yeah, we're going to go in game number 1 between Tribe versus Elevate. Pull coming in for RBM, but that pull actually gives RBM the blue star. He gets away scot-free, so beautiful stuff, and Elevate are going to be taking that whenever, Tribe's going to be taking that whenever possible.
Yeah, I mean, RBM's going to get that blue star. He's going to have it for free, basically. We see Patchy on the Eve, which is a brawler I've seen him play a pretty fair amount, so I guess a little bit of comfort picks coming out for both teams right now. Luffy's trying to get some value over there, but he gets pulled by Alianis. Not going to be able to connect on a kill or anything, but Alianis likely only 1 shot away from his first teleport of the game.
Indeed, it is a little bit of a detente in the mid, which Elevate is perfectly fine with keeping right now. Patchy does get his first super up, so those hashlings are going to be a little bit of a nuisance, especially for Elevate, because they do have a lot of single target brawlers, though RBM can clean it out pretty well if he holds his ammo.
Yeah, RBM is yet to get a drill online yet. I mean, it seems like he is going to be significantly outranged. Very surprising. I mean, he is on the mouse after all, but he has super ready to go now. Going in on Alianis and Patchy, but he is just going to transfer 2 stars over like the Amazon Prime delivery man right there. That is not what they wanted to see, especially with Luffy falling right there. That's 4-1.
Uh-oh. There's another death onto the Nani. I don't remember who the Nani is in that situation, though. And it's going to be a 5-star lead favoring the side of Elevate. Tribe Gaming in a very bad spot here, though. Nani going in. He's going to get shielded up by Luffy. The pull is there. Huge pull from Alianis to extend the lead. 7 stars for Elevate.
This is textbook from Elevate right now. I mean, they have nothing to fight for at this point. They just have to hold their ground right there. They get another kill onto RBM, and that's probably going to do it. I mean, they're down by 9 stars. Really don't see a way that Tribe Gaming comes back from this deficit. But I mean, Panda, it's just, I gotta ask, what was the point of going Mo, man?
I don't know. I thought they might be cooking. I thought maybe, when the Mo jumps in with a super, the shield from the Gus is going to give it a little bit more in terms of the value that you could get. But then again, when you get that shield, Mo is going to bounce everybody back with that shield. So it's going to give less value to the Mo in that instance. I don't know. I was very confused by that pick. I kind of thought they might be able to cook, but instead we're getting, a 5-course, 3-star Michelin meal from Elevate instead.
Yep, going into game number 2. I mean, looks like we're gonna pop back over here. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into the game soon. But I mean, I have pretty high expectations coming out from Elevate here. I think they definitely have the comp advantage over Tribe.
Oh, they swapped the spectate, I guess, and now Tribe is on the bottom of your screen, so that's perfect. Here, though, it is a 3-star game. The blue star on the side of Tribe, so they done much better than they did last time around. Peep coming in. Can it find any mark? No, it does not. Unfortunately, Vegeta getting away with 60 HP to his name.
Yeah, we're going to see Zeus on the Nani, I believe, guys. If you weren't sure who Kaisa's dog is, that is going to be Zeus, but he is trying to hold down this angle against Patchy. Not the easiest matchup playing Nani into an Eve. The return to sender is a little bit useless against her. But either way, it looks like the pull is going to be missed from Alianis. RBM is working towards getting this super, but I mean, even once he gets that, it's going to be difficult to go in, get a kill, and get out without dying.
Indeed, and you see all of these bear traps as well, so 1 kill is what Elevate needs, and they're going to have Tribe moving up as a wave into all of those bear traps, so that's something to think about as well. But right now, Luffy gets tagged up, is very low, has to forced to be put into the wall. Their pull coming in. Oh no! Zeus falls. That is huge for the side of Elevate. They have the lead here, 2 stars.
That is so smart from Alianis to kind of force the issue, pull him out while he's using that super. No way to respond to that if you're Zeus. So unfortunate for Tribe, very fortunate for Elevate. He's going to be pretty weak there too. Zeus almost falls to Patchy, but Alianis is going to go secure the kill onto Luffy. It's all up to RBM, but he falls quickly after that. And with less than 10 seconds on the board and a 2-star lead on the side of Elevate, they're not going to be able to take out the bell. That's going to be a set win.
Wow, a set win for Elevate versus Tribe Gaming, and Tribe aren't off the mark just yet. You can see the smile for Patchy. Obviously, it's going to be laced with that confidence from the experience at Brawl Cup, and the pickup of Alianis is actually proven to be quite effective here. Though I have to say that a lot of it came down to draft, and we keep on saying this. I feel like the draft from Elevate was a lot more mature and a lot more, how do I say it? Defensive than the draft coming in from Tribe Gaming, and they did a pretty good job of executing on that vision.
Yeah, I think mature was the good word for it. Definitely feel like maybe a little bit of ego coming out with the mouse pick right there, but maybe they'll learn their lesson going into Hideout here. They've definitely... It's not often that we see Tribe losing in sets and having to come back from behind, so we're curious to see how they bounce back from this as we go into Hideout. Like we've said in the past, the maps are only getting more and more cagey and unlocking that brawler pool even more, so excited to see what type of aggro they're going to bring out. I could see them justifying a mouse pick now, but I mean, definitely not on Shooting Star.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find that kill with the... I believe we had a kill... Ooh, a pull from Alianis onto Zeus, right? Somebody wanted to see that, so I'm just bringing that out. Uno momento, por favor. I'm gonna go back.
That was a really smart pull from Alianis, man. Can't even lie.
Ooh, oh, he just did that. It's so dirty. It not only canceled that super, he also got the kill. It's like double the value. That's crazy.
You gotta make sure that you're using that Nani super from a very, very safe and secure location, especially when a Gray is on the other team.
Yeah, but great stuff coming in from the side of Elevate. I feel like they have their key on the draft and, sorry, the pulse. They have the pulse of the draft, the pulse of the meta. That's what I wanted to say. Man, I'm so bad. Anyway, but all in all, really great stuff from them. Hopefully, Tribe Gaming can, have a little bit more mature for draft here as we go into this next set. Hideout, obviously a little bit more cagey as we mentioned, and we're gonna go into our draft here. We have our bans: Lumi, Jean, Angelo, Buster, Bell, and Gus. So 6 different brawlers. our band out here. We still have Jay Young, we still have our Grays, we still have Maxes as well. Kenji's going to be coming out for Elevate. Very strong early pick here. But can Tribe Gaming pick up Brawlers? I feel like this might be a bait for Tribe Gaming to get Brawlers that can specifically take out Kenji, and which you can have a counter offensive from Elevate to ensure that, you know, that's a mistake from Tribe Gaming. But I don't think they're going for the bait. They're sticking true to their guns. They're going for Gray here.
Yeah, I think that the Gray pick is pretty solid. I don't think you need to overreact to the Kenji too much. In Bounty, it is very difficult to actually cycle towards a Kenji hypercharge, so as long as the Tribe Gaming doesn't go Brawlers that feed the Kenji, they likely won't have to deal with that. Obviously, a Kenji super is still nothing to shake your head at, but they do end up grabbing the Pearl as well to provide a little bit more defense into that Assassin pick. I really like this response from Tribe Gaming. Definitely a much more serious draft from what I can tell.
Indeed, and this next pick is going to be very important to see what Elevate have in their back pocket. They go for Byron. Obviously, Byron's great for ensuring that Kenji stays up much longer. You get those supers, you get those heals off on Kenji. Also, with the gadget that Kenji has, Hosomaki healing, you're going to be a lot more of an offensive threat. Leon's going to be coming out last for Elevate, and this is not Shooting Star. We are on the next map, which is Hideout. So on Hideout, Leon is a pretty good pick here just because of the walls in the grass, the amount of sneak ability that you have, and paired with the support from Byron could make Leon a very good pick here as Tribe Gaming have this last one.
I like the Leon pick a lot. I feel like it's fun to see a Leon action in competitive, and this is one of the few maps where we get to see it brought out here. The Byron heals are definitely going to be coming in clutch for both Kenji and Leon, but they also, you got to take into account that Elevate is very likely going to get this blue star with the ability of the Kenji to dash up. Tribe Gaming going with a second tank counter with the Chester to finish out their draft here. Makes a lot of sense. They want to have stuff that can defend against itself once the Leon and the Kenji are kind of in your face trying to get those kills. So pretty defensive comp from Tribe Gaming, very aggressive comp from Elevate.
Yeah, I prefer the Tribe Gaming one because in no world do I expect or see Kenji actually making a dent in this Tribe Gaming composition. But I am free to eat my words, Elevate. Prove me wrong.
I think that I could see them pulling out this victory here. Alianis is going to have to get a super, potentially even a hyper, but I mean, there's a lot of high HP. Like, if he doesn't value his life too much, he might be able to get that cycle going, but he's got the blue star now, so a lot to play for. He's got to kind of sit back and be careful with it. Leon is looking to try and get that super, but not too much value to speak of as of right now, but Vegeta's already got his Byron splash. Might be able to save his teammates if they decide to go in.
Indeed, and it's a little bit of a poke battle here. Oh, Elias able to get one shot off, and you're going to see him do this repeatedly. He's going to dash in, take a shot, and dash out of that situation. So waiting for Brawlers to, you know, overstay their welcome and just feed off them, work towards that super. Because Hypercharge, very unlikely unless they go all in.
Yeah, but another hypercharge that we got to look out for is Patchy's on the Leon. Oh my goodness, the trade going down on the right side of the map. We see Elevate still is going to have the blue star lead, but we're tied up at 3-3. Patchy is looking to get his next super, potentially even a hypercharge, but the pull comes through, and Vegeta is going to fall to Zeus right there. Fantastic play with the Gray, and he's going to be teleporting on the Patchy right now. That's going to be a double. Wow.
Yeah, Zeus not done. Ooh, but a kill from Alianis. He's able to find one, but RBM able to pick up the slap. Gets 2 kills on his back pocket. He also gets his another one. A complete team wipe from RBM. That's crazy.
RBM's going absolutely crazy with the Pearl here. Not typically the flashiest brawler of all time, but RBM is making it look like it is. Absolutely crazy work right there. Zeus has his Gray hypercharge as well, so they've got enough utility to be able to survive this push. Patchy gets teleported on, and it looks like he wasted his super right there too. This might be a little bit too late. I feel like this is probably going to fall into Tribe's hands pretty comfortably, Pan.
Yeah, I completely agree here. It's such a good place coming in from Zeus. Another pull as well. Patchy with his hypercharge can't really get anything going at all as Patchy falls once more, and the game win is going to be given to Tribe Gaming. So this is what Tribe Gaming need. We see Luffy on the screen. He looks quite confident, but Elevate, I feel like they played this one really wrong for the composition that they had. They have to be quite aggressive, but the composition from Tribe just has so much more damage than Elevate can really compete against.
Yeah, I also noticed that Patchy did kind of fully waste his first Leon super, which definitely was not what he was looking for. Couldn't really get that hypercharge online until the game was almost over. So Patchy might need to be a little bit more resourceful with his utility this time around. He's going to be fighting Luffy over here on the top left-hand side of the screen right now. That's going to be full positioning for Tribe, though. Elevate is super pinched back in their own spawn, and everybody on Tribe is just landing these free shots right now.
Indeed. Very awkward position to be in if you're Elevate here. Ooh, Chester super falls. And, ooh, Zeus finding another Unpatchy. That is crazy. RBM finds Vegeta as well. But a kill has been confirmed. Alianis gets the blue star as well and gives the lead to Elevate. Great stuff coming in from Elevate here.
Lots of trades going down here. Not even sure how Elevate was able to walk away on top of that, but they will definitely take it. We see the gray hypercharge online though. Zeus's discretion when he's going to go in with that. They already do have a teleport up in a pretty aggro position. RBM's going to be pretty far back compared to his teammates, trying to outrange Vegeta right here. Alianis is going to go in, but the gray hypercharge is live. Luffy's doing some work here, and Alianis is going to be pretty weak, but that's going to be Zeus falling. That lead extends to 3 stars for Elevate. Vegeta is going to fall though. Didn't want to splash himself.
That was crazy. Luffy got the kill on Apache using the teleport here. He has a hypercharge as well. Alianis can't really move up against this. And I feel like the win condition for Tribe has been met. They have the hypercharge from Chester. They have all this abilities here. RBM might be close to his own super, but hypercharge being popped by Luffy. Finds a mark on Apache. Apache falls, and it's going to extend the lead by 4 stars. It's looking even better for Tribe.
They still have a decent amount of utility on their side too. Nobody on Elevate has a single super ready to go, so this is going to be a tall task. The Kenji super is on though. He gets one slice off on Luffy, but going into the last 15 seconds, the gadget is baited out. Alianis is going to fall though. That's a 7-star lead. Make it a 9-star lead. Make it game. That's going to be Tribe Gaming walking away with set number 2. We are tied up 1-1 before going into game number 3.
That was a dominant display coming in from Tribe Gaming. I did not expect it to go the way it did, and that's set for them. We're going to go into set number 3, which is Layer Cake next, but what a response from Tribe Gaming. I feel like a lot of people might have thought after the first set that, you know, maybe Tribe lost the plot. Maybe they aren't as dominant, and the world has shown, you know, how the pudding has been made, you know? So, but I think that Hideout was perfectly emblematic of how dominant Tribe Gaming can be, and that was such a beautiful set. We saw lots of back and forth, but Tribe Gaming knew what they had to do. They had the pulse on the button, they had the finger on the button, and they weren't afraid to use it.
Yeah, I think that they definitely had a little bit of an outdraft there. We saw them lose after getting outdrafted in set 1, and they win after getting the outdraft in set 2, so I feel like we're definitely going to have to watch out for the draft going into Layer Cake here. It's definitely the most fun map to draft on, in my opinion. We've already seen Shade go absolutely crazy. We've seen Buzz be an early pick off the board, so expecting a little bit more aggro, but we saw that the aggro from Elevate didn't really work out last time. The Chester and Pearl were just a little bit too defensive and safe. Just helped Tribe Gaming get a pretty easy win.
I feel like if you take the Elevate draft and put it in Layer Cake, they win. But in Hideout, it feels like it's a little bit... You rely so much on dodging, on like the perfect positioning, the healing, and I feel like so many things are out of your control that it's kind of runs away from you, especially with the draft that we have from Tribe Gaming. So first one was won by draft by Elevate, second one was won by draft in Tribe Gaming, but the gameplay from Tribe Gaming, the first set was, I feel, paltry, if I might say so, but in the second one, much more clean. So I'm quite excited to see how it goes in the third set. It's, you know, it's down to parity. It's been reset. It's 1 each for the set score. So it's all going to be going down to this Layer Cake set here.
Yeah, super important set right now. Tribe trying to remain undefeated throughout the first 3 days of GKR. Elevate trying to give themselves a winning record. They are currently 1-1 right now, so huge stakes for both teams. Super excited to see how these drafts go, man. I'm hoping that we get a little bit more Shade action. Maybe we get to see Hank in the action as well. I mean, there's a lot of really fun picks that can work on Layer Cake.
Yeah, we've been casting a lot of different tournaments across regions lately, so it is interesting to see how the meta does change and evolve in different regions because of different paradigms and different ideas that they have. So I am a little bit I guess disappointed that I don't see as much gray, as much shade in NA, and hopefully, you know, with Layer Cake we get both of those brawlers, or maybe if they're banned out, at least that's fine, because, you know, at least the relevance of those brawlers hasn't been understated with how it is represented in the draft, if that makes sense.
100%. I feel like there's also a lot of thrower picks that could make themselves known on Layer Cake that we haven't really seen too much of yet. We did see the Larry take the L in the STMN versus Crumb set, but I mean, Juju is another brawler who could be pretty impactful here. I feel like Grom has a sneaky underrated hypercharge too that maybe could find its way into the mix here, but our bans are in. It's going to be Bell, Gus, Juju, Gene, Kenji, and Lumi banned out. Yep.
A lot of the usual suspects being banned out, but Shade is not banned out, so that is interesting. Neither is Juju. Jae Young going to be coming out first. I don't think you can go wrong with the Jaeyoung early pick, honestly, at this point. He's such a good brawler in this meta, especially once you get those gadgets going. Barley coming out for Elevate. It is a thrower, but not the thrower that we expected. I would have expected maybe, you know, a Larry Laurie or possibly even a Barry coming out, but Barley's going to be there making his face known here. Fink's going to be another option for Elevate. I like the Finks, especially with the gadget which gets you out of difficult situations. The super as well, though it does also benefit Barley, that super, so that is something to keep track of as Hank comes out for Tribe Gaming. And the combination of Jaeyoung with Hank, I feel like is a very strong combination. This is such a good nucleus, Duncan.
I really like the comp that Tribe is putting together so far. Jaeyoung double tank is always something to be fearful of, and I feel like that is going to be pretty difficult for Elevate to counter. I think the Finks will be able to put up a decent fight, and I do think that the reason they go Barley over some of the other throwers is because they're expecting a little bit more aggression. Barley has the damage to be able to deal with tankier brawlers. He's got the heal gadget that can help his teammates out as well, but it's still going to be a little bit difficult to play a thrower into a Buzz, into a Hank, and into a Jaeyoung with speed. So definitely Elevate's going to have their work cut out for them. We'll see what they go with this final pick of the draft. Unsurprisingly, it is going to be a Chester, so they want 2 tank counters now. And now it's a little bit of an opposite of what we saw in set number 2. Tribe has the aggro comp, Elevate has the defensive comp. Who's going to come out on top?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are different strategies involved here, but I'm curious to see, as this is going to be the last set here between Tribe Gaming and Elevate, and this one is for all the marbles. If Tribe Gaming loses set, this is going to be their first loss in NA, and that is, you know, a talking point. It might be a setback as well, but Elevate are looking very strong right now, and are looking like a team which can go toe-to-toe with Tribe right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. I don't think that their comp is anything that should get completely walked over right here. It looks like they already got a kill on the board as well. Elevate with a 2-1 lead right now. RBM is falling very weak, but he's going to be saved by Zeus on the Jaeyoung right there. Patchy trying to work back a little bit of positioning, but Elevate should be pretty comfortable playing defense here. They've already got the Fink super to speed up their team shots. Vegeta has his Barley super online as well, so if they do push up too high, they might get zoned out.
Yeah, it's a great spot for Tribe Gaming, in fact, because they can just stay back and wait for Hank to, you know, get his super, get his hypercharge. Ooh, Jaeyoung going in. Gadget finds a kill on it. Vegeta. Oh my god. Vegeta caught lacking, and that is unfortunate for Elevate, as the lead is going to be for Tribe Gaming, but they are not letting their foot off the pedal. Luffy goes in, gets taken out. Stars are going the other way, but Kaisa's dog gets the kill. Sorry, I was going to say Kaio dog.
Zeus is confusing all of us over here with the name change, but either way, Tribe is going to be able to walk away from that somehow. I thought that Elevate had a pretty good defense setup, but Aliana's going in with the Finks super. He's going to be landing some significant shots onto RBM that he is going to fall there with the help of Vegeta on the Barley. So the lead goes back to Elevate, only 1 star, including the blue star, but I mean, it's just they've got a lot of HP Tribe Gaming does to make this final push once we get to that point of the game.
Aliana puts the super down on the left-hand side. I'm not sure if I agree. I feel like that would have been better used in difficult situations. Now, RBM is going to be going up here. He has the hypercharge charged up already. So, Tribe Gaming looking to be very aggressive in these last 20 seconds, Duncan.
Yep, 15 seconds left on the clock. We need to see Tribe Gaming pick up a kill here if they're going to win this game. RBM has the hypercharge online, not popping it yet, but here he goes with the damage here too. Alianis is going to fall quite weak, so is Vegeta, but they're both still up. They take out RBM, and with only 2 seconds left, Luffy's going to be trying to do the impossible. He is not going to have enough. Aliana's finishing the game on 5 stars on the Finks right there, and Elevate brings it to a match point, Panda.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate there. I felt like Luffy could have probably made some kind of effort, especially earlier on. Going in 3 seconds before the game ends is not something that you expect with a Buzz with a hypercharge and super. So I think that some small mistakes that Tribe Gaming need to address as they go into the next one. It is Elevate on match point here.
Yep, Tribe is going to be in a position that we haven't seen them in too often this season, but they do get the blue star onto the Hank right now, so they have the lead. They're going to be playing pretty defensively. We didn't see how their first member dropped in game number 1, so maybe we'll get to see what Elevate's strategy was for that. Zeus is getting a little bit of speed going down in the middle, but he's taking some pretty significant fire right now. The damage gear is going to kind of keep them pushed back right now. Vegeta falls weak, but it looks like no kills are going to come out of this.
Yeah, that's really scary. It is kind of concerning how much damage Jaeyoung's gadget does. Surely he's getting a nerf in the next balance sheet because that is not going to fly. Now RBM going in. He is able to connect one shot off onto Alyanis, but that super from Alyanis gets him the kill instead. And there's a stun coming in, but Alyanis gets taken out. And now Luffy trying to jump out of the situation in a very bad spot, but Vegeta not able to find him. And it is Tribe Gaming running away with this with Elevate and Shambles, Duncan.
I thought Vegeta was going to be able to get that kill, but Luffy won the game of hide and seek. Crazy stuff there. Patchy's trying to push up onto RBM. He's going to be a little weak, but it looks like he still might be able to get a trade at least. Not quite yet. Vegeta going in with super. Luffy is going to get that kill as well, and that's going to be 10 stars to 5 stars. Elevate with 40 seconds left needs to be able to hold control for the rest of the game and pick off some kills at the end.
Indeed, Tribe have already been pushed back to spawn. It's not really good for them, especially since Vegeta is on Barley. Now RBM popping his hypercharge, sorry, popping his super. Doesn't get as much value he's looking for. He gets the kill though, that's huge. Now Alyanis gets taken down as well. Hypercharge coming in from Patchy, but he's not able to connect it onto a single soul. It's going to be a 10-star deficit with 20 seconds left, Duncan.
Yeah, Elevate's in a tough position. I think Patchy might have needed to hold on to that a little bit further for the final push. They don't really have anybody who's going to be able to clean this up at the end. That's going to be a 12-star lead for Tribe. And with only 5 seconds left on the clock, we are going to be going to a double match point right here, Panda. Both teams tied up as we are in game 3 of set number 3. Cannot wait to see who comes out on top of this.
Indeed, great stuff coming in from Tribe Gaming. It's just going back and forth. It seems like one team is more dominant than the other, but then in the next game, it's a flip of the script. Let's see what happens in this third and final game. It is double match point, a game between Tribe and Elevate, the two titans of this region.
Yep, the blue star is going to be picked up by Luffy right there onto the buzz, so Elevate's already going to be working from behind. The Barley gadget comes out to keep the entire team healthy nice and early. Patchy's going to be trying to push up this right-hand lane right now, but Vegeta and Alyanis getting a decent amount of value right there. We've seen Zeus's damage gadget, yeah, come in clutch though in the past.
Indeed, here Tribe Gaming are already pushed back to their spawn. That's not that great for them, though they have Blue Star and haven't lost a single life just yet. They need to work on getting their supers, and RBM's doing exactly that, but he might be caught in an awkward position, but uses his super to stay alive here, need to be healthy, and Zeus is trying his best to keep him that way.
Yeah, Vegeta's doing a great job zoning out here, though. I mean, we see the entire comp of Tribe is kind of stuck in the bottom right-hand side right now. Alyanis has his super down to get some more consistent damage onto Hank as well.
Ooh!
Significant damage taken there, but he teleports back, gets the kill, but Patchy is somehow also going to get the kill. Wow. So after all that, we still see Tribe up by the blue star, but the lead has been very slightly narrowed by Elevate. Those were some crazy plays going down.
I did not think Alyanis' projectile would have made that shot. It connected, and that's what they needed. They needed those 2 kills. So Patchy went down, so obviously not the outcome that they wanted. There is the blue star for Tribe Gaming, and now RBM making his push on the right-hand side. He's going to be contesting with Alyanis, but Alyanis has a super, and he puts it down. Ooh, gets taken out by RBM. RBM still very much alive. Super is there for Zeus. He should be able to heal up RBM as well. Stun coming in from Luffy, finds a kill into Vegeta. Alyanis going in, tries to find something onto RBM, not able to do so just yet. Patchy caught in a bad situation, gets taken out. It is a lead, a 7-star one for Tribe Gaming. It's going down to the wire here, Duncan.
Everything fell apart for Elevate right there. Luffy's going to be able to go in and get that trade as well, but a 5-star lead still sitting on the side of Tribe. They need to take out Zeus as well as somebody else. Patchy has the hypercharge, but he dies before getting that bomb off, and that is going to secure things for Tribe. Very exciting end of the game there. A couple people got caught out of position, but Luffy throwing up the W's. Very well-deserved victory for Tribe. They're going to remain undefeated, joining KCP at the top of the leaderboards. Both teams 3-0. Elevate, unfortunately, dropping to 1-2 after a very well-fought game.
Beautiful stuff coming in from Tribe Gaming and Elevate, gotta say. But at the end of the day, it was Tribe Gaming. And the story, as the story goes, in NA 2025, Tribe Gaming is a team that cannot be surmounted. It's a team that you cannot beat. And it just goes to show you that's what's happening right now. Elevate, though, are getting closer and closer to Tribe as the months go by. So it's a little bit of a point of concern for Tribe Gaming. But they're going to be happy that their win continues, their streak continues, and that the narrative that, you know, Tribe has lost the plot isn't going to be cemented.
Exactly. They're definitely fighting for bragging rights as much as they're fighting for a GKR victory right there. So good game to Tribe. Definitely a pretty exciting matchup. Got to be our most exciting matchup that we've had so far today. So the banger match of the day did not leave anybody disappointed. I'm glad we got to go to 3 sets right there. Congratulations to Tribe Gaming and well played to Elevate. But that was a fantastic match number 3 of the day.
Indeed, and that is us at halfway through this match day. Actually, we have 2 more matches. It's going to be Zolo's FA versus Code OG and Motomami's FA versus Mori Gaming to round this one out. Though we're going to take a short break of about 3 minutes before we come back. And in that time, I am going to be going on Twitter to see if any new tweets are there by certain individuals in the community because, you know, whatever. Hello everybody and welcome back to GKR NA 2025. It is phase two, day number 3 bounty. So all the maps are going to be bounty and we have finished a lot of the matches for today already. We have, I guess if we look back as a refresher, Pioneers took the win against Space Station 2-0. Then Crumbs won against Stamina Esports, which is unprecedented in a 2-1 scoreline. And then we had Elevate losing to Tribe Gaming in a 2-1 double match point situation, which Tribe came out on top, and you know they reclaimed their, I wouldn't say reclaimed, they ensured that they. Now we have Zolo's FA versus Code OG. Well, it's Real Ones. I'm not sure because we were told it's Real Ones. Some people told us it's Zolo's FA, so it's Real Ones, I guess. We have Counter, Razu and Square versus Charles OG and Second Best here. And just talking about what we have going on here. After the release of the X Elevate roster, the team is splintered into different teams, and with them disbanding, Real Ones will be taking their slot in this tournament. So this is why you see Real Ones here. Razu and Square and Counter, they have their work cut out for them because not only are they in this tournament now, they also inherit all the losses of FA, so that's unfortunate for them. And to add insult to injury, they're facing a star-studded cast in Code OG. We have Charles OG and Second Best, all great players, all have been to World Finals before multiple times, so it's not an easy task. So they are also, I guess, Zolo's FA, or sorry, Real Ones, anchored at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for them to walk into a 0-2 start without having even lost themselves yet. And they have to play Code OG on top of that. Panda, definitely a little bit unlucky for them. But either way, they're still going to be excited to have a chance to play in GKR. So I'm excited to see how this team shapes out here. We've got Counter, Razu, and Square, all very good players, but maybe not as much tournament experience as the players of Code OG have. Code OG is a team that has a lot of potential. It's been a little bit up and down throughout the season so far, so looking forward to see if they can put together a dominant performance today. They definitely should be the favorite going into day 3 bounty, but I don't know, anything could happen as we saw with Crumbs and STMN.
Yeah, indeed, and we're going to go into the second split of the BSC now, and it's double points, so even if you're kind of lacking in the points department, you have the opportunity to make it up in the second split. And I feel like that's what a lot of teams are going to be going for. And especially with the, let's be honest, the dismal showing of NA at Brawl Cup. NA, I feel like, should be very hungry for, you know, titles and for the glory. A lot of times NA was the region to be, and now it's kind of like a region which is a little bit less influential in the esports scene. So hopefully teams get that signal and decide that, okay, now is the time that we need to pull up our socks, come together and work together as a region to be you know, one of the, like, to be as mechanically gifted as EMEA or East Asia, or to have as much of a advanced draft as some of the other regions, because I'll be honest, NA has been lacking on both departments. So hopefully, you know, in the second split, we get things going a bit better. And I've been yapping a lot, Duncan. I'm sorry.
Hey, all good, man. I feel like Code OG is one of those teams, though, that is kind of on the verge of being like the peak of NA. Them, as along with SSG, have both been teams with a lot of expectations that maybe haven't fully performed up to that right now. Code OG probably less so than SSG, but a lot to play for here. They want to solidify themselves as a top 3 NA team, and with the downfall of SSG and KCP is looking touchable, so I feel like Code OG could kind of solidify that spot. But we are into our first set. Shooting Star, the bans are in. It's going to be Tick, Nani, Juju, Gene, Angelo, and Frank, surprisingly.
That is an interesting ban here, but I mean, when you have these bans, it means that they have a game plan in mind. So let's see what they are trying to cook. Piper comes out for real ones. Not a pick that you can really go wrong with, especially with the Nani that they banned. So it's a targeted pick and a targeted ban for that pick. Gil, are they trolling?
I couldn't tell you, man. It's great. Okay, thank goodness.
Oh god,
we got a little bit baited by the graphics right there, but we do see a real pick coming through. It is going to be the Gray. So we've seen Gray avoid the bans on Shooting Star very often, and he hasn't really gotten picked as early as Code OG is electing to pick him. I still think he's a fantastic pick. He can kind of hang out in the mid, use those walking canes to farm his super, and then once he has super, he's able to go in pretty easily on most of these options. We see the Gus coming in for Code OG, and then real ones are going to pick up the Bell, so it seems like a long-range affair right now.
indeed, and I like this from real ones. They go for the Carl as well. That's going to give them a lot more aggression. The blue star is certainly going to be on the side of real ones, unless Code OG can get that Fable pull with the Gray. And we have a very conventional draft. I feel like you are almost like, what, revert? I mean, you've gone back to 2022 or something with this draft. It's like a time machine.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Mandy though, man. It's about time that we get some Mandy gameplay. We saw Chino pull it off a little bit, but we see Counter going in as we get into game number 1, but he gets pulled immediately by second, and that's going to be the first death coming off the board. Code OG is already winning this game, and Charles already has a Mandy super online. He's going to let it rip, and it connects. A perfect start for Code OG, especially Charles.
Charles knew that was going to connect. Before he even hit the super, he put down the pin. He knew what was happening. He gets a super again, but unfortunately doesn't manage to connect this last one. Pull being missed as well, but regardless, it is a 3-star lead for Code OG as real ones are kind of caught in a bad spot here.
Yeah, I mean, Counter has to kind of go for the blue star. That's like the main reason you go that gadget on Carl, but Second knew that, and he was able to pull him to capitalize. We see Mandy connecting a couple more shots onto Counter here too as well. Charles has his hypercharge super online already, and he gets a connection onto Counter. Square's gonna juke out of that, but he gets pulled and teleported on. Things are just falling faster and faster for the real ones. They are not looking like they're in a position to win this game, as they're down 5 stars and have yet to really even get close to getting a kill.
I feel so bad for Square. Another super coming in for Charles. That's his 4th, I guess, at this point. Kind of crazy, but felt bad for Square. He was, quick enough to react to get his super off, but okay, anyway, hypercharge going in, a lot of shots being missed by a second best, and unfortunately not enough kills, though they do manage to confirm too, and I eat my words almost immediately by Code OG.
Yeah, I mean, they've got so many portals set up now. The utility is very, very clearly favoring the side of Code OG here. They have Gus Shield ready. They have 2 different sets of teleporters up, so it's going to be very difficult for the real ones to go in and get this squad wipe. I mean, they need a squad wipe at this point, but only 15 seconds left on the board, and they have yet to even move up like past halfway.
Indeed, I think Square's lagging. He hasn't been moved for a long time here, so it's up to his teammates to pick up the slack, but it's not looking good for them. And another missed Mandy super, a super coming in from second best to add insult to injury, and a thumbs up pin from the bot Piper Square. So unfortunate for the side of real ones, but Code OG are going to be perfectly happy taking that first win.
Uncle G getting a little laugh out of the whole situation, but that was a very dominant game from Code OG. Gotta feel good for them starting off on such a hot note right there. They still need to get one more win to wrap up this set right here, but things are looking good for our favorites in this set. Going into game number 2, we have set point for Code OG.
Beautiful stuff. Ooh, pull coming in, Counter getting caught in a very awkward position. Second adds insult to injury, putting down the foot spray for the team he so dearly loves.
Yeah, I feel like Counter's got to mix up the strategy.
Oh, no.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you can't just do the same thing twice in a row, and Counter found that out the hard way. Second and OG starting to troll a little bit here with the pins. Feels bad for the real ones, but the lead is already sitting at 3 stars, and it's just going to be really hard to push into this comp that Code OG has. Second doesn't even need to use a teleport anytime soon.
Indeed. Ooh, he goes in anyway. Regardless, Razuin gets taken by the Wayside's Counter very low. But now OG going in for a little bit of his own. And you're just seeing Code OG going after them one after the other like a pack of hyenas, taking out the team of real ones one after the other.
Yeah, it looks like Square still might be having a little bit of difficulties. Not the smoothest movement right there. Second does miss his hook, and he has to get out of here.
Oh, no.
5 stars. He does go down, but I mean, there's still a 4-star lead for Code OG. A lot of work to do. They've definitely not finished this upward battle yet on the side of real ones, but I mean, they have potential. They just got to take out OG.
Indeed, here Razun does have his super here. Counter just predictably walking up, and now second best doing what he does best, which is terrorizing the other team. So Real One's not in a best spot here.
This one might be over. I mean, there's still a little bit of time left, but an 8-star lead is going to be really tough to overcome. Second does miss his hook there. Charles is going to be kind of pushed back. I mean, this is the best positioning we've seen out of the Real Ones yet, but Counter's going to flying hook up there, trying to get a kill onto Charles. He gets slowed, though, and Charles gets the Gust Shield as well. He has his hypercharge. That's going to go through. Not going to get any kills here, but 10-star lead with 5 seconds left. I think that's probably just going to do it for set number 1. As expected, Code OG coming out on top, Panda.
Beautiful stuff coming in from Code OG. The draft was impeccable. The execution was even better than I expected, and they are going to be taking that dub very, very easily against the Real Ones. I knew that this might have been a little bit of a lopsided matchup, but to this extent, it was unprecedented. Though I have to say, first game, I don't really count that because Square was AFK. Yes, in terms of the fair play and the rules, they do happen to take the L, but it's not emblematic or representative of how good Real Ones can be, you know?
Yep, I'm hoping that they're able to get that situated before our hideout set here. I would love to see a little bit better competition going into set number 2, but Code OG is not taking any prisoners here. If you're lagging or if you're not lagging, they're still going to clap you up and get that W, so they're going to be trying to lock it out in 2 sets right here. Real Ones facing a unfortunately cold welcome into GKR today, but there's still potential in hideout. They got to go for an outdraft here.
Yep. That is definitely what the doctor ordered. As we go into hideout next, this map is an interesting map. You have all these grass tiles here, allows you to hide and be a little bit sneaky, which is why you see Leon being brought out from time to time. Haven't seen Melody being picked up by most teams here in the recent past, though. We do see Ollie, Jae Young, also really great as a brawler to focus your team around because of the amount of support that it can bring to the table. You can't really go wrong with Gray either on this map, and I think there are a lot of different strategies involved, but I feel like NA really likes that gene a lot.
Yeah, it's hard not to like the gene here. I mean, you can play aggressive by just kind of running up there with that pull. You can clear out so much space because they have to stay very far away from that pull. He's also able to just kind of, if you have the lead, it's really difficult to push into a gene with pull. So I feel like he will remain near the top of a lot of teams' draft boards. Same with the Gray right there for similar reasons, but a lot more aggressive brawlers you can go here too. We've seen Ollie make its way here. I don't know if we've seen Hank on this map yet, but that's another brawler that I think can be pretty impactful.
Yeah, Hank is definitely great on this map. I just haven't seen this being brought out much in NA, but it synergizes well with Gray. It synergizes well with any sort of healer, Barry as well, because the Hank is going to keep eating damage. Then you're going to get hit super, you're hypercharged, but Barry is also going to be able to charge his own super and hypercharge with that Hank being like, you know, a big super sponge for the other team. So it benefits both teams, but I think, you know, that's something to think about as a possibility because Hank is definitely viable on this map.
Yeah, we've seen him banned already today, but haven't seen him picked on this map yet. I think the only, trying to think of the only tanks we've seen, but I believe it was the Ollie has been the only tank that's come out on hideout so far. I think there are still potential to go with maybe a Buster comp here. We've seen Kenji as well. That's not necessarily a tank, but kind of similar to that. But that's a brawler that we've seen not get banned out nearly as much in Bounty as he does in other game modes. So maybe he'll be a part of this draft. Maybe he won't. We've seen him get countered pretty hard before.
Yep, and I want to see how this one does play out. I feel like in terms of even the draft, I wouldn't say Real Ones were bad. I think that was a really consistent draft with what you expect in the meta, and maybe a little bit dated. I would say that draft was a little bit dated from both the teams, but it's not something that you could go wrong with if you're facing off against both the drafts, right? Like it's pretty even, all things considered. But I want to see how it plays out in hideout because the the skill difference is very, very visible and is very apparent. But maybe Real Ones, they haven't showed us what they're capable of. Obviously, I believe they were informed that they have to participate in this tournament only recently, so they may not have the preparation or the practice going into this here today, so that could be a consideration as well.
Potentially, they definitely want to make sure they put up a little bit of a better fight in set number 2 than they did in set 1. Even if they aren't able to get a set win, still just not getting run over would send a message that they are still in GKR. They're here to play, they're here to compete, and that they can hang with some of the other teams. Code OG, as we said, is one of the top teams in NA, so a difficult straw to pull for your first fight of the tournament, but I think that they still could, maybe with the help of the draft, maybe with just polishing their mechanics a little bit more, still be a competitive team here, but this is Code OG's game to lose. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, we're going to go into our draft here. It's already started. Piper, Lumi, Hank, Lumi, Ollie, and Jaeyoung being banned out. Gus going to be the first pick for real ones. I like this. And Gene coming out. So the Fabled pull is available for Code OG. They could pair this up with a Max. They could pair this up with some kind of tanky brawler as well. RT does pretty well to satisfy a lot of different niches here. You're going to have the Marks, and they decide not to go for the RT. They go for the Bell instead, which is a pretty interesting pick. Considering the fact that the Gus is there on real one side, it means that the propensity to go for something tankier on a map like this is quite high. So the Bell is a decent pick because you're going to have a lot of people grouping up together, and Buster comes out as well. So I like this Bell pick because of the expectation of a tank.
Yeah, I think you were spot on with that analysis, Pan. I think that they kind of expected them to go with some type of group up comp. Buster definitely falls into the group up category, so the Bell bounces are going to be pretty impactful going into him. If they're able to get that Buster marked up as well, it's going to make his life a lot more difficult. Real ones finish up their draft with an Angelo. I do think that is a fantastic pick. If you're good with that Pierce gadget, it can be so impactful. It can get so many kills when teams are least ready for it, so I think it's a pretty solid draft from real ones. I do think that Code OG probably can figure out something to draft with this final pick to make it make sense. It's going to be a Juju, and I do think that is a pretty solid pick. She can play very passively, and it's going to be pretty difficult to push into her.
Indeed, but I just feel like with that Juju, it's going to be very hard for real ones to really compete against Code OG because they have the pull, so they can't really hug the wall. They have the Juju, so they can't hug the wall. So when is the Buster going to get that value other than, you know, going in when he has a super from just being close by to his teammates? We're going to go game number 1 off this second set here between real ones and Code OG, with Code OG taking the first one.
Yep, and we're going to have the fight for the blue star taking place right here. It seems like real ones aren't contesting it super hard, but never mind. Square goes up, and he actually hits the pole as well. So that's going to be blue star as well as a kill following the way of the real ones. They are up by 3 stars right now. And Code OG, it looks like Charles overstepped maybe just a tiny little bit right there, but that's going to be punishing for them.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, jump coming in from Razwin. Not sure if that was the jump that he needed to get. Might have actually used the wrong gadget, and I think that's exactly what happened there.
That is unlucky. Those are just mistakes that you can't make at this level of gameplay. That's something that my ranked randoms would do right there. Unfortunate for Raz, but that's going to definitely suffer them right there. Charles is going to get pulled right there, but he's got the Grigri getting significant damage onto Square. He's going to be able to heal up barely, but the Grigri gets a kill, and he might be going for seconds right now. Code OG is finally going to have their first lead of the game, but I mean, the Grigri did so much work there, Panda.
Razwin getting tagged up a lot. Ooh, the hypercharge from second almost might have connected, and that would have certainly got the kill, but unfortunately for him, he was a little far away in that interaction. It's going to be a 2-star lead, though, still favoring the side of Code OG. And they aren't really letting up on any of the high action in the Octane. They want to keep them pushed back all the way to spawns. A lot of spins and sprays being popped. I'm not sure exactly why, but you know, that's what happens. That's part and parcel of esports.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's going to be really difficult to push into Code OG at this point. Without the Angelo Pierce, there's really nothing that can touch Charles here, and that's going to be a disgusting pull coming in from OG. Their lead extends to 4 stars right here. Raz popping the super down. He's trying to get some poison tabs in, but there's really not much to speak of here. Second's holding his ground. Charles and OG are just slowly but methodically retreating back here. Charles pops the invisibility. That's going to be a kill on the Square. And overall, I mean, after that first mistake coming in from the Angelo, it was kind of smooth sailing for Code OG from there.
Yeah, I mean, Code OG are right now putting on a master class, almost like they're teaching like a professor teaching a student at this point. It doesn't feel like real ones are, you know, all that in this tournament right now. Feels like Code OG are completely picking them apart. It's match point for Code OG, and I don't think real ones are, you know, showing up just yet.
At least they know they got the Angelo jump gadget here, and they're going to utilize that to grab the blue star. So W-Raz learning from his mistakes. We do see a 1-0 lead, but I mean, Code OG are going to be kind of pushing up here. Like I said earlier, Charles kind of has free reign over this bush right here to extend his range. Square's going to have a difficult time pushing up without feeding a Grigri.
Yep, on the right hand side. Juju's just gonna be happy on the just using the grass to get as much range from that shot, but a huge kill actually from counter. It's gonna increase the lead for the side of Real Ones, but I don't think that Code OG are all too concerned just yet. They do have OG. That means that there's a Gene on the map, and a pull is a possibility. With second best piloting the belt, I think the Code OG are in a pretty good spot, all things considered.
Yeah, they're going to be so weak, the Real Ones in the back left-hand side here. Raz and Counter both one-shot. OG hits a very free pull right there. Square is also one-shot, man. This entire roster is just so weak in the spawn. They're lucky to get out of that only losing Counter right there. They still have the lead by the blue star, but positioning is so heavily on Code OG's side.
Yep. They are still in the lead, just the blue star, but, you know, I think Code OG just wants to get their supers again. They're looking for their utility. Charles has his. And he's going to be pressured by Raz on this right-hand side. But, oh, second gets skill on a counter. That's huge. That's going to be the lead as well. And now with Code OG in the lead and OG close to his own super. Oh, he gets a pull. Oh, no. Raz jumps out of that situation, but that's perfectly fine for them. Super being popped out as well as the hypercharge from counter. It finds its way onto Square, but right now they're just fighting against the Grigori rather than their opponents.
The Grigori has been the MVP of this set so far, and Square is going to be one shot. Charles barely able to survive that. He does end up falling, but with Raz's teammates dropping, that is going to be a pretty free win for Code OG. That was the closest game that we'd seen between these two teams yet, but it is going to be a clean sweep for the team Code OG right there. Very well-earned victory, and while the Real Ones did step up to the plate a little bit in the last game, not able to take a single game off the veterans.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be demoralizing for the Real Ones, but to be fair, they didn't expect to participate in this tournament at this stage, so, you know, that's something to think about. But Code OG, good drafts, good execution. Can't say much overall for how they compare against the other teams, but that's for the rest of the match days. Congratulations, though, to Code OG. That is a very welcome win, and that's going to be, you know, making them go higher on the leaderboards, which is exactly what you want.
Yep, they're going to be moving up to 2-1, joining a bunch of other good teams up there. I mean, they're definitely going to be pretty happy being tied for third, considering the way that these first 3 match days have gone. Unfortunately, Real Ones inherited a 0-2, and they're going to keep on building onto that as a 0-3 here. So, unfortunate for them. Them and Real 919 sitting at the bottom of the leaderboards for now, but Code OG with a much-earned victory. But we have one more game today, guys. It's going to be Moto Mommies versus Mori Gaming, but we're going to take a quick 2 to 3 minute break before that.
We'll see you guys then. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GKR NA 2025. It is match day number 3, and we are on our last game. We finished 4 of the other games, and 1 was a free win as well, which is the 5th game. But I am your host, Panicast, joined by the very handsome Duncan. How are you doing today, Dunk?
Doing great, man. I mean, we've got through 4 absolute banger games so far. We've got 1 more on our plate, though, and it's between 2 teams that are tied up at 1 apiece, 1 win, 1 loss for each of these teams. We got Moto Mommies, we've got Mori Gaming, 2 of the more underrated teams in the region, but I think that it should be a relatively evenly matched game, and I'm excited to see who comes out on top.
Indeed, and the only win that Moto Mommies have had so far is the free win that they got in the previous match day. It doesn't help that for the aura that they, you know, seem to exert, they lost to Betty. You know, Ball Betty, Unk Zip supremacy, and they lost to them on day 1. They're gonna go up against Mori Gaming, who actually beat the team that beat Moto Mommies. So, you know, it's not that good for them in terms of the matchups. But that's just, you know, I'm not sure if that's what the math really says, because Moto Mommies, you know, they are a great squad, right? They have DAO Gamer, they have Rafiki, they have Sam, very aggressive and adaptable composition of players here. So, I mean, the math doesn't really add up here, at least. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I think something else important to point out is that both of these teams had representatives in Panda's chat already today. So that's how you know that they're super locked in for the games. But nah, either way, I mean, I think that they probably left to go warm up for this bounty set coming up here. But we're going to start on Shooting Star once again. Both of these teams do tend to play a little bit more aggressive than some of the more established teams that we've seen, especially the side of Moto Mommies. I know that they love playing their tanks. So we'll see if they pull out any off-meta picks or if it's just going to be Sniper Haven again.
And 3 maps are going to be Shooting Star, Hideout, and Layer Cake if you're just joining us right now. So the way GKR does things is that each of the match days have a different game mode because thematically it's going to be the same. So we get to see all the teams, all 6 matches happen on the same 3 maps. So you get to see all the different flavors of competitive that teams decide to go for in these maps. So you have different drafts, different approaches with how they play, even with the same draft. So I'm interested to see how this one's going to go for Motomamis and Mori. Motomamis, we have a member of the current Elevate squad, Diego Gamer. We are going to pair it up with Rafiki, who's on the up and up. He's up and coming in the esports scene. So if you're uninitiated, at least for NA, now you get to know who Rafiki is. And Sam, I feel like one of the best aggressive players that we see in tier 2. We're going to go into our draft here, though. And the bans for Shooting Star are to be RT, Gray, Belt, Jean, Angelo, and Lumi. First pick, Motomami's Carl.
Definitely intrigued by the Carl first pick. I mean, usually we do see a little bit more range coming out here, but it seems like Motomamis have an idea, and it probably is going to be centered around grabbing that blue star first. So that's kind of what they're going for with the Carl. I assume we'll see Flying Hook make its way into the Carl build here for Motomamis. More gaming coming up onto the draft, though. They're going to have 2 picks coming up here, and a lot of the best snipers in the game have been eliminated already. The graphic is showing us that they've drafted a Carl here, and unless I'm mistaken, I don't think we can have double Carl. So, okay, wait, looks like the Carl is going to be on the side of Mori. Motomami's picking up the Gus. I'm a little bit confused here. Maybe Mori had the first pick. I think that's what happened. Sorry, guys.
That might have been that might have been what happened. You're right, but I like this from Motomamis. They have the Gus, which is long range support as well. Leon is a little bit iffy. I feel like it's gonna suffer against some of these mid range duelists, and Juju is gonna be coming out along with the Mandy and the Carl. So long range secured, thrower secured, along with the Carl. But having a thrower, but the last pick is Piper. I felt like if you have a thrower, you'd want to go for a pull, but you can't go for a pull because they're banned. You're so smart, Panda.
All right, guys, into game number 1 between Motomamis and Mori Gaming. Motomamis in blue, Mori in red. But we do see Z picking up that blue star, unsurprisingly, with the Carl Flying Hook to start us off. We already see a Leon super online, if I'm not mistaken, so Rafiki might be waiting for a moment to come in here. Sam gets the kill with the Piper bombs on the jump super right there. So an interaction you don't see too often with the Piper getting a super kill, but indeed that's what happened, and we see Mori Gaming up by only the blue star. Scratch that.
Wow, Motomami's kind of running away with this one. Ooh, a big super for Mandy, but it manages to connect. No kills, though. It's going to be a 4-star deficit for the side of Mori Gaming. Motomami's are kind of running away with this one for right now. Blue star with Diego Gamer along with the 4 stars. So if they get the kill onto Diego, that's going to be huge. Ooh, super misses once more. That is 2 missed supers coming in for Mandy.
Yeah, he's gotten really close both times, but Melu has just not been able to get that finishing touch right there. Sam's going to be falling quite weak, and we do see the Nani head circling up here, trying to get some of that value there. Rafiki does get tapped, but he's not going to die. Z's trying to go in with that movement speed from the Carl Super, but not going to result in a whole lot right there. A lot of fire being taken down there. Z is going to fall right there, and Melu might be next to join him. Indeed, he is. And that's going to be a very healthy lead for the side of Motomamis, even after losing Sam.
Yeah, good use of that P from Sunny. It reduces the deficit by 5 stars, but that's still a huge ask. A kill is required, but Sam gets a kill onto Sunny. That's huge. Now Z is trying to go in, but gets fought out once more. It's just Motomami's show, and Mori Gaming are just the spectators here as Motomamis take the first win.
Yeah, we're going to see a little bit of fun interactions going down there with some spins and some pins. But, I mean, either way, Mori is going to be on the back foot now. Definitely not the way that they wanted to see game number 1 unfold there. They do get the blue star for free, but they didn't seem to have much of a game plan going after that. And Motomami's walked away with that one pretty freely.
Agreed. Want to see how Mori Gaming respond to the second one, because it felt like a little bit of an outclass. Not just the draft, just the gameplay itself. Again, once more, the blue star has been collected by Mori Gaming, and it's up to Motomamis to get that advantage back. And they've done it once before. I'm sure that he can do it again.
Yeah, Melu's going to fall down there, though, and Z is probably going to be next to join him. That is going to be 4 stars for the side of Motomamis to the 1 star on the side of Mori Gaming right there. Sunny was looking for the gadget play onto Sam, but it's not going to connect right there. And Melu is getting pressured very much again. Diego pops the shield, but the Z super is not going to be enough. We do see a couple of kills falling down here. There's still going to be a 3-star lead. Melu's going to survive this, though.
And he'll walk right back in that with an unfortunate hypercharge being popped. The Mandy's going to be very low, might be taken out. Carl also very low himself, but manages to survive in this interaction just yet. And it's a 3-star lead still for Motomamis, even though it looks like they're desperate.
Yeah, I mean, the positioning is definitely very much on Motomami's side here. Sam was somehow not able to kill Z right there. Z survives for a lot longer than he should, but Diego pops the hyper and cleans that up very convincingly. Z's going in on Rafiki. That should be a pretty free kill for him, but still going to be a 5-star deficit. No blue star for the side of Mori either.
Indeed, 5 stars. That's a repeat of the script that we saw the last time. Hopefully, it pans out better for Mori Gaming, but so far, with the lead that Motomamis have, doesn't seem to be the case.
Yep, Z's going to be trying to get a little bit of positioning back for this final push right here. Sunny's falling quite weak, but he does have super online as well, but he goes down. No gadget to be spoken of right there. Z is likely going to fall as well, and that is going to be a 20-8 victory for Motomamis.
Wow.
Very cleanly played. They never really looked like they were at risk of losing that set, Panda.
That's a very dominant set for them. I honestly didn't expect it to be as influential and as one-sided as it was for Motomamis. Mori Gaming, you know, they definitely have their work cut out for them in the second set. Getting clean swept in the first one, not that good. And just to remind you, Mori Gaming are at the bottom of the, wait, never mind. They got to win, I think. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, they're 1-1, but I mean, they don't want to be falling down to 1-2. There's a lot of teams that started today at 1-1, and I mean, we saw a couple of them fall, like STMN and Space Station, both are 1-2, and those are teams that you really don't want to be like tied up as far as their record goes. I mean, they probably are a little bit more established than Mori, so it's going to be tough for them if they do fall to 1-2 here. But Motomamis is fighting that same uphill battle right there as a 1-1 team. They looked very mechanically skilled in that set, though. Definitely looked like there was no comparison between these two teams, so we're going to have to see Mori step it up in Hideout.
Yeah, he sure. I mean, why is it he? The team surely does need to step up here. Hideout is not an easy map to play. I mean, as you go from left to right, I do say that there are more walls and all that, but the playstyle gets a lot more aggressive, and there you get a lot more backs and forths between the teams. You have a lot more lead changes, so it requires to be ever present in the game at that point in time. You need to have great game sense, great team synergy, and I feel like that requirement increases as we go through our sets here. So I don't know if that was on purpose, GKR, but you know, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I like it too. It's always fun to see some shooting star action, just kind of like some pure snipers right there. And then we get to go into a little bit more team-based game as we move from Hideout into Layer Cake. But Mori's going to have to take care of business in Hideout if we even want to see any Layer Cake here. Should have the draft coming up soon, but it's definitely going to be high stakes for them.
Yep, I mean the highest of stakes, maybe an A5 ribeye, that kind of high stake right there. But I'm interested to see how this draft goes. I like the draft from Motomamis a lot more than Mori Gaming. There were some signs of brilliance in the previous set there. We saw Z going in, getting a few kills, but when your teammates are falling quite often, even Z, like it's hard for each of the lanes to do their jobs properly because they have to keep on. You're not doing your job when you're dead, and then your teammates have to pick up the slack, and then another person dies, and it just keeps on rolling through. So I never felt like Mori Gaming were cemented in what they wanted to do as we go into our draft here, Duncan.
Yep, we've got our bans in. It's going to be Motomami's banning out Angelo, Lumi, and Jean. Mori Gaming is going to ban Brock, Piper, and Ollie. So 6 unique bans, and Mori goes for the Gray first pick. Makes a lot of sense here. We've seen Gray show his face in a lot of these bounty sets right here, but he pretty much fits into any of these maps as a mid option right there. He's pretty good for preventing the other team from grabbing the blue star too, because you can get that hook if you know where they're going to be. But we see the Kenji come out for Motomami's. Pretty terrifying brawler to see on your screen, I'm not going to lie, Pan.
Yeah, it's hard to go up against a Kenji, right? Especially when paired up with a Gus on a map like this. I think that, you know, Motomamis are quite confident. They seem to be, you know, lost in the sauce in terms of the draft because they are locked in right now with what they want. Oh, it's a Jae Young. Even better than the Gus. It's a Jae Young.
I like that a lot. I feel like the speed is so good, especially for getting the blue star. I mean, with a Kenji that can dash and a Jae Young with the speed shots, like it's almost a guarantee that Motomamis are going to have the lead at the beginning of this game. It looks like the entire Mori Gaming roster is cracking up at something, so Got to see what pick they're going to pull out here. Apparently, it's pretty funny, though. But I mean, there's still a lot of ranged options left on the board. I mean, the only bans as far as snipers were Angelo, Brock, and Piper. So Gus still available, Bell still available. We do see the Gus get picked up by Mori here. I like that pick mostly just to keep it out of Motomami's hand, because if they have a Jaeyoung and a Gus boosting the Kenji, that would be very terrifying.
Yeah, Carl coming out for Mori Gaming. I like that. And last pick for Motomami's FA. They're going to go for Leon. I like this because you're going to have so much of potential with the Jaeyoung. Once you pop that gadget, it's not easy to really compete against the Jaeyoung. Ooh, big super. What if Rafiki gets Z down? It's still going to be a lead for Motomami's. It's going to extend it to 5 stars. I mean, they're going to extend it by 5 stars, and that is kind of crazy. Rafiki still not over. He's going in for the hunt. Misses everything there with that super. Maximum aura from Rafiki.
I don't know how he hit both shots the first time or missed both shots the second time, but you get to see the highs and the lows of watching Rafiki right here. Pretty electric stuff, but a 7-star lead for Motomami's, and Sam has Leon Hypercharge already with a minute left on the clock. That is going to be terrifying. He pops it too. He's taking the long way around. He's going to go for Melu. He has no idea, and he is going to be able to juke somewhat successfully. Sunny teleporting in too to try and secure this kill on the 4-star Leon. Looks like he's not going to be able to walk away with that kill quite yet, though.
Sam's still alive. He goes in. Oh, super beam popped by Z. Gets taken out by Rafiki. There's a hypercharge coming in, but a hypercharge of his own. The purple button completely in shambles. Mori Gaming to add insult to injury. Another one.
That purple button is absolutely devastating, Panda. There's nothing you can do once he gets that, and it's just you just can't feed him that much in the beginning of the game, because you know once he gets the hypercharge, it's over. Sam has another hypercharge too, and he's going in right here, getting a ton of damage. No kills yet, but that's what Rafiki is there for. He's going to clean up, and that is going to be 22 stars for Motomami's. They are on game match point right here. That is, I mean, they're just dominating Mori Gaming so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were just slicing and dicing through their opponents, and Mori Gaming, I don't know, they had to pull a rabbit out of the hat. They need a miracle and a half in order to get this dub here. Otherwise, they're going to look at a 1-2 line in terms of their prowess in the GKR. We're going to go into game number 2. It is match point for Motomami's FA against this Mori Gaming side.
Yeah, but Rafiki is already getting a lot of value up here. That's going to be another kill coming down to 3 stars to 0. Just nothing good to talk about for the side of Mori right now. The super goes in. He gets the kill on Melu, and he wants more. He's staying up there. Diego is juicing him up with these heals, and he's honestly got to be somewhat close to a hypercharge already. This is over, in my opinion.
Oh, this is more than over. 8-star lead. Hypercharge already. He's dodging all the shots. They're not able to do anything against this man. Z tries his best, but he gets absolutely nothing. Rafiki goes in, gets his hypercharge, goes in even more onto Mori. Sunny goes down, but so does Z, and it is just the worst day at the office for Mori Gaming.
This is disgusting from Rafiki and Diego. That combination of the Kenji and Jaeyoung is so broken right here. He just keeps on getting heals, keeps on getting Kenji hypers. We do see a little bit of action coming in here, though. Z getting the kill with the hypercharge. And don't look now, but the lead is only 7 stars. If they're able to kill Rafiki, this could be a comeback of the century.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, 1 kill more. 5-star lead, a pull as well. So that's going to open it up so they can't really rely on that wall anymore for cover. They have to be careful. But Rafiki not really shying away from the test here. He's going to go in. Gadget being popped. The Gus being quite low. Rafiki still on the left-hand side. 29 seconds left, though.
Yeah, they're going to need to make a play here. I mean, the deficit is still pretty significant, but if they're able to kill Rafiki, that is going to be the player to watch. But Sam taking the long way up with his super right there. He's going to be a little bit weak here, just trying to juke out with help from Diego's Jaeyoung speed. And, I mean, they got to make a push up here, too. Only 10 seconds left on the clock. Z has Gadget ready. Sunny has his shield popped. But, I mean, it's just, they don't know where Sam is. Rafiki's still going to be able to survive this. That's going to be a pretty clean victory for Motomami's. Mori tried to make it look close, though. I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of desperation coming out from Mori Gaming, and everything went according to Motomami's game plan. From the start, from the get-go, from the first draft pick and the bans itself, everything seemed to be coming up Motomami's as Mori Gaming take that L. But I feel like this was more or less an expected outcome. Just the, I guess, the overbearing aspect of it was something that I did not expect.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit closer there, but Motomami's has definitely proven something today. They looked pretty dominant right there. I'm sure they're looking forward to their next match against a team that maybe they might be considered an underdog against, try to put themselves on the map even a little bit more. But they move up to 2-1 throughout our first 3 days. Unfortunately for More Gaming, they do fall to 1-2.
Yeah, and this is what we saw today so far. Pioneers took the took the W against Space Station in a 2-0 scoreline. Stamina took the L against Crumbs, which was very unexpected, but kudos to Crumbs. They gave us a show. And then we had the Classico, the NA Classico, which is Tribe Gaming versus Elevate, which went the way of Tribe. Real Ones versus OG. OG took it 2-0. Motomamis versus Mori, which you just saw, was a 2-0, and LC Esports NA had a forfeit win from 919, so they took that dub there. So that's what we saw today, and these are the matches that we're gonna have on day 4, which is exactly a week from now. Same place, same time, so we hope to see you there. Duncan?
Oh, yeah, no, looking forward to seeing y'all on day 4. Sorry, I thought you were wrapping it up.
No.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the games today. Had a great time watching some bounty action. Looking forward to getting into Hot Zone, though. Should be a little bit less passive right there. A lot of high HP comps, a lot of healing coming through, so should be a fun one to watch. Looking forward to catching you guys there next Wednesday.
Indeed, next Wednesday also. Just looking at the matchups, we still have, again, a rematch because we finished the round. Oh, well, I can always just like rewind. Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, on the next Wednesday, we're gonna have 2 amazing matches, especially Elevate versus Tribe Gaming. That's gonna be a rehash of what we had today because half of the round robin stage is over, so the second half has to happen again. So we're gonna go through a double round robin, right? So Elevate versus Tribe Gaming up again, and then we have SSG versus Pioneers. I want to see how that one goes because it did not go well the first time around for SSG.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're going to have to bounce back at some point, man. I keep on waiting for them to flip that switch and turn themselves back into a Titan of the region. But, I mean, I'm going to have to wait 1 more week for it. So, hopefully that's how it ends up going. But should be excited to get into the games.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Make sure you subscribe to Duncan Brawl Stars on YouTube. He makes content every single day, and he streams once a week. Make sure you subscribe to me already if you haven't. And use code PAN in the shop if you're buying anything on any of the Supercell games and any of the Supercell titles. I appreciate it. Code PAN. And thank you once again to the production, the admin team, the people working behind the scenes to make this possible, Supercell as well, and the sponsor Smilke for making all of this possible. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you guys next week, same place, same time, and hopefully some more high octane Brawl Stars action. See you, chat.